You're listening to the Gamecasters.
Natalie, Jeff, and Ryan are the Gamecasters, and they do a board game show, inboxes, and nooks and games, and top 5 lists, and sometimes there's fart jokes.
Well, hello there, gamers, and welcome to episode 74 of the Gamecasters, the show that's about 2 bad British accents away from losing the entire country of England for good. Yes, we're back again for more of this. Every episode I feel like, oh, this will definitely be our shortest show yet. We don't have that much, we don't have a ton of content, so this is going to be a short one. That's okay. And then every episode we end, and I'm like, all right, that was our longest episode to date. Like, what the fuck? So much has happened over the course of the past 2 weeks that we must break down for you like enzymes and stomach acid. In fact, our show is kind of like the podcast equivalent of the digestive system. At the beginning, you're gobbling us up, and it's fun and informative, and then through the middle of the show, it's starting to work its way through, and you're getting full. And then by the end of it, you feel like you've just excreted this large slab of waste, and you're good for about 2 weeks, like a snake.
Like a snake.
But like I said, we've got a lot to break down for you. Natalie and I finished The Wire. Jeff and Devin watched some TV shows, probably. We went on to this little board game convention. And Natalie and I got a new shipment of Kickstarts in. The drink, not the gaming website. Yeah. So, okay. Last weekend was the best 4 days
in gaming.
Was it last weekend? It was last weekend,
yeah.
Right?
One week ago, we were on our way home.
Forever. That's insane. Me, Natalie, Jeff, Jojitsu, Donkey Kong, The Leaf in the Wind, and eventually Gencon all arrived at Gencon for the first time in 2 years. It was canceled last year due to COVID, which was an incredibly understandable bummer.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah,
Too bad. I get
was.
it, but damn, that sucks.
I get it.
I get it. Jeff understands. We all know Jeff understands. You might not know, but he does.
Yeah.
This year almost went the same way. We never really fully knew if it was going to happen or not for like a long time. Then when it was finally official, the Delta variant came through and almost knocked it out again. A huge portion of publishers backed out, some at the last moment. Some simply weren't able to come as their borders were locked down. And so the convention felt very different than the previous 4 times I had gone. The enormity was still there, but like much less. The vendor hall, where we spend the majority of our time, was significantly impacted. A large percentage of the space was cut off. In its place, a new space for people to sit and eat and take a quick 30-minute quote-unquote mask break, right? As masks were mandated to be worn throughout the entire convention. And in true Gen Con fashion, it was hot as balls. Standing outside in line for island noodles, the greatest thing in the world,
Yep.
Every day caused extreme body sweats, unless that was just my entire body salivating for island noodles.
Maybe.
Which it could have been
either.
Yeah, I feel like there was just tongues came out of me where I didn't think there was. Ooh. You get some island noodles. But I thought the island noodles were better this year than ever.
It's so funny because we hyped it up so much and we ate it and it was still like...
It was just as good. Well, we hyped it up, and when I think a lot of people, because we Jeff put it like on his stories, we all did, right? Before we got there, like, we can't wait for island noodles. I think we even talked about it in the last episode. So, Amanda and Wally of the Instagram account Main Street Meeple, which we'll talk about them again in a little bit, they arrived there before we did, and we kind of had a little plan to meet up with them. They got island noodles before we even got to the convention. Right?
Yep.
And sent us a text like, we got the island noodles. And I was like, oh, hell yeah, what'd you think? And they were just kind of like, yeah. It's all right.
They didn't like it.
It's okay.
And that
so,
was the end of our friendship. Just kidding.
We were like, it kind of made us like second guess, I think, for a second.
I know.
Like,
did we hype it up?
like,
We talk about it too much.
Is it not as good as we think?
Yeah, because it's been 2 years since we've had it.
No, and Amanda and Wally were wrong.
They were just wrong.
It was so good.
We all ate it and we were like, oh my God,
this is better than it's ever been, I
amazing.
thought. I was like, I'm in MSG heaven.
Yeah, it was so
we
good.
ate it every single day we were there.
Yeah. Right.
I would have had it more than once.
I know. If it was socially acceptable, yeah. I would have gone lunch, dinner.
Yeah.
That would have been great.
Oh my God.
The convention for me was so much fun. I just personally felt like I saw most of it, though, by Friday afternoon. And so a lot of Friday and all of Saturday was basically just going over stuff I had already seen. But hey, I'm at Gen Con, so who gives a fuck?
Yeah.
How many times I go past the Picture Perfect booth? I got the name right. It was also different in the fact that for the first time ever, we were kind of there representing the podcast. Like, we were there as the podcast. Mm-hmm. Before, we just kind of went. And then we were like, we might occasionally be like, hey, we're the Gamecasters. You guys know? This time we went there. We were like all decked out every day in Gamecasters merchandise and gear, passing out buttons and stickers like we were running for political office. It was such a great time, though, meeting everyone who we had only previously interacted with digitally through Instagram, Twitch, or Discord. And we just talked about it a minute ago, but we hung out with Amanda and Wally of Main Street Meeple.
Yeah, we hung out with them a ton, and it was
so
awesome.
fun.
Great people.
Yeah.
Man, are they cool. Yeah, we've been
so cool
we've
to
kind
meet
of
them
like
in
been
person.
interacting with them a lot
leading up
Recently.
to Gencon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like very recently, we started interacting with them. Amanda and Wally, they come into the Discord or the stream at one time, and we played Gartic Phone with them, and they're
been chatting with them, and then we got to meet them in person, and we saw them like several times every day we were there.
as hard as we tried not to.
I'm really surprised we didn't scare them away.
I know, me too. We went out to dinner with them. They came
we went out
over
to dinner
our
on Thursday.
Airbnb, so they must have liked us.
We are weird.
Was it Thursday? We went out to dinner.
Yeah.
And it was
We were pretty
It was an
rowdy.
event, which I don't know if you were going to talk
Yeah,
about.
No, go ahead.
we can talk
we can
about
talk
that.
It
about
was
this
an
now.
insane event. Poor Amanda and Wally got there first, got us a table for 8, which at Gen Con is tough to get, but now there's less people.
Yeah.
It didn't seem as tough.
True.
But
Yeah.
it was just a nightmare experience of like, how long is it took us 15 minutes to even get our order taken. Our poor waitress came out who was like 6 months pregnant, carrying a tray of the drinks that we had ordered, spilled them on another table. You know,
And then ran away.
hormones took over.
And then
She
ran
left
the
the
fuck
building.
away.
The manager was like, "Oh, she's coming back," and nobody came back. And it just was
Joe
piling on
watched
top.
her walk out the door or
With her
something,
stuff.
and he's
Yeah.
like, "Hey, I think that's our waitress." And he's like, "Oh yeah," and he's like, "Well, is she leaving?"
Yeah.
And the guy's like, "No,
she's
She was
coming
going
back.
to get something."
The manager
Yeah.
came over and was like, "We'll get you guys a round of drinks and some beignets." And we're
Never
like,
got
Yeah.
those
Okay.
beignets.
and then our food came out, and it was all
Wrong.
very wrong.
Yeah, like half
and
the table
poor
got
Amanda
their
and Wally's
food.
was even more wrong than everybody else's.
Well, at first, so there's was there 8 of us total?
Sure, I think so, something like
They
that.
only brought out 5 meals at first.
Yeah.
Enjoy.
Yeah,
Oh,
right.
yeah. No, they brought
And so then
half
they were
the
like,
meals.
"Oh, by
They
the
brought
way,
4, because then me...
while you're waiting, here's this order nobody ordered. Just have this."
No, because they brought me a meal, and I was like, "That's not what I ordered." And they're like, "We'll just keep it then, and
You're
we'll
like,
put it back in." And then they brought my correct one and Joe's correct one, but Wally and Amanda incorrect
still
one.
wrong.
Yeah,
So then
still
they're like,
wrong.
"Okay." So then we all had food, and they still didn't have food.
So here was the problem. They tried to be. They tried to get
Yeah.
involved in the in the pageantry of the convention, and what they did was they took their regular menu and they called them different names.
Yeah, they called all the meals different names.
Yeah, like the
related to,
dragon
like-
sandwich
Yeah,
instead of
right.
just the regular whatever.
So when we're
Right.
ordering, we were like, "I want the dragon sandwich," and I think our waitress was like, "I don't know what the hell."
Yeah,
dragon
what the hell does
sandwich
that
is."
mean?
Well, there was also like 2 different meals that had brisket in it, and they both had the name dragon in it, and so like I think that got confusing
That
for
confused
Yeah,
the
it
them a
wasn't
lot.
well thought out, and
Yeah.
it was like a snowball effect.
It's like you
of-
got to all know that menu. If you don't know the menu with the new names, then
Right.
Yeah.
and we were all so
Yeah.
it just
So-
everything
It
that
was
could
just
go wrong went
Yeah.
wrong.
everything that could go wrong went wrong, but at the end of the day, they did comp our entire meal for
At the
all
end of the day,
of
we
us.
got
Fucking
free
meal.
food.
We had all
no
this-
beignets
we had,
though.
like,
Just so you
beignets.
know,
We
we're
had
still waiting
extra
on our
meals.
beignets.
We all had like multiple drinks. Like it was probably a lot of money. So
What was the name of this place called?
Something
Beignets are
wood.
us? We're
No,
not giving
something
you
wood.
beignets?
Good
Oh, yeah.
wood.
Goodwood.
Goodwood.
Yeah.
Good food. Good.
Yeah.
The food that I had was
Yeah,
good.
fine
I think
food.
like the
yeah, good
owner
food.
guy even gave Joe like some 30-year-old.
Like
Yeah,
bourbon or
cool.
something.
Joe gets everything.
Yeah, great.
Good
Yeah.
job,
Thanks, Joe.
Thanks, Joe.
Yeah.
We don't get our beignets, but you
Yeah,
get your
but that
$30
whole dinner, it was like we were just loud over the top, having so much
Yeah, we were
fun.
just being
And Amanda and
crazy.
Wally came back to hang out with us
Yeah,
the
the
following
next
day
day.
and the following day. So
I
We
was
got to see
surprised.
some
We
of
didn't
us-
scare them
well, 'cause
away.
Some of us were a little less charitable at the table. Like I was like, "Where's my fucking water?" And I was like, I was getting
Ryan
mad
was,
about
like,
the water.
drinking out
Yeah.
of the pitcher.
Ryan was drinking
Well,
out
but
of
I
the
was
pitcher.
like, Amanda saw us at our best, at our worst.
Yeah.
You know, like, and I was like, I'm like, Wally's not talking. I'm like, Wally
Yeah.
in the car.
like-
Wally's like, we're never see these people.
Yeah.
again."
yeah.
Sorry.
I
So
seriously,
that was a one-time
This will not
experience.
be
I did
happening
wonder,
again.
like, when they were at that table, like what was their first impression?
Yeah,
of
we're
all
shutting
of
down
us?
our
We were
Instagram
like,
account.
These people are nuts.
I mean,
But then they came over to our Airbnb, and so like,
well, I think Amanda listens to the show, so I think she knows a little bit of our personality.
Like
You know
the
what I mean?
show.
Yeah.
Like the show. Like the show. So our next guest, Dr. Rongel Bringer. So then we invited them over to the Airbnb on Friday night to hang out and play games with us. Natalie proceeded to give them the wrong address. And so they were
Oopsies.
I gave-
in the
yeah.
ghetto.
They were in a different part of town.
so bad.
Amanda and Wally in the
I'm like
ghetto.
sitting on the porch waiting for them, and I'm
An
like,
Elvis
they're like,
song.
we're at the corner of this and this, and I'm like, yeah, it should be like right there. Like I'm looking at that corner from the porch.
Oh, we're being mugged. As soon as we're done being mugged, we'll get there.
And I was like, what's the address? And I think the name of the street was like Bellevue, and I told them it was like Belleville or something like that.
It was Beville.
Beville.
But you told them Belleville.
Yeah.
Because there's a city where we live, kind of close by, called Belleville.
Yeah.
And so that name was just in Natalie's head.
And apparently that was like,
the ghetto. In the ghetto.
yeah. And so then they're like, we'll be there in like 15 minutes.
When we have drugs for everyone.
Oh.
Yay.
Yay,
Yeah.
for free.
So they would come over and we played some games
My
with
car's
them.
been
And
tagged.
again, very rowdy.
Yeah, it was. We were again just
like we got loud.
Us. Yeah, we were crazy, but they seemed to not hate their lives. At least.
Especially at the Airbnb, they seemed to like open up and they were like being rowdy with us, kind of.
Very awesome meeting them.
Yeah, they were awesome.
They might even come to Nerdfest.
Ooh, that would be cool.
because they live in Ohio, so it's not far from Michigan.
Yep. It was awesome. So they were great. Amanda and Wally, if you're listening to this, you're not. It was really fun hanging out with you. Just kidding. You might be. Getting to that, wandering around, forcing Amanda to take a picture with Tom Vassell was fun.
That's great.
Oh,
that was good
she
stuff.
was so nervous.
Yep, she didn't want to.
Oh wait,
did it anyway,
the very
so who cares?
first person that we saw, because like we were on the lookout for a lot of people that we were gonna, meet in person that we knew through Instagram. And when we first got to the convention, we wanted to eat lunch. And so we were like heading over to the food trucks.
We walked into the vendor hall for 1 second.
Yeah. And I immediately spotted Nelson from Fantasy and Some Flights.
How did she do that?
You guys did that the whole weekend.
Yes, true.
You were walking around and you were like,
right
look,
there.
there's Tom Vassell.
Yeah,
there's Amanda. There's Bonds. There's Paula Deming. And I'm just like,
You're right.
And the funny thing is, everybody...
I'm like talking to myself and I'm like, where'd you guys go? And you're talking to Paula Deming. I'm like, oh, okay.
Everybody was
So look at this
wearing
art.
masks, so it was more even... I feel like it was even more
Yeah, you
impressive.
saw Nelson like immediately. Oh, I'm more impressive than you think I am.
Well, you too.
Yes, you're right. No, it was definitely.
Yeah, because we walked right outside. So the door we come in is kind of across from where we would go outside for lunch. So we kind of went through the vendor hall to then go outside.
Yep.
And the moment we walked outside, Nelly was like, "There's Nelson. Fantasy and Some Flights.
In
There's
line.
Nelson." So, and then we show up and we're like, "Nelson," and he's like, "Who the fuck are you
what
guys?
are you?"
Because we haven't seen each other's face a ton, right? But we
Yeah.
so we were like,
Natalie apparently stalks him enough to
took
know
a cool
that.
picture with him.
No,
Yeah.
I think
Yes.
like that
The
morning
checks out.
we knew he was going there, and we were like, I wonder what he looks like. And we looked,
I knew what he looked like.
and I remember that morning we looked up a picture of him on his Instagram, and so I had
On his Social Security
what he looked
card.
like in my head, like
on his passport.
yeah. I put a tracking device on it.
Good to see you.
Yeah.
Ow. Yeah, so that was cool. We didn't unfortunately see him a ton. We just did not connect because we go as a big group. We kind of do our own thing where we just kind of roam the vendor hall and kind of do our
play
thing
a
that
game
way.
with
And
him or
he was
anything.
doing a lot of that too. But at all the times where he would like stop and play games because he hung out a lot with Evan and Alex from Being Friends, who we
Yes.
also met, which was great.
Yes.
But we did go to a meetup, which we'll talk about a little bit later. The three of us did, and we got to at least connect with Nelson a little more.
Yes,
there
that was cool.
So it was very awesome to meet him, Paula Deming, Bonzinator, Chris from the Charity Board Gamer, like you said, Nelson from Francis Flights, Evan and Alex from Being Friends, Lydia, All the World's a Stage, and so many more people whose names escape me at the moment that we met from social media, right? Jeff has also developed relationships with people from different game companies, and he's taken kind of like a reviewer role in the last year or so. Has it been like 2 years now?
Yeah, maybe not that, but close. Like not that long, but close.
Yeah, okay. And so he set up a bunch of meetings with people. And do you want to kind of take it from there about that kind of stuff?
take
What
it
if I was just
away.
like, no?
No, I don't want to. I'd
No.
be like, well, I can fumble through it. Okay, so Julia from Good Job.
From Good Job Games. Ooh.
Good game.
Good something.
No, that's a different one. She doesn't work.
Oh, she's
Isn't it?
from.
Oh, she doesn't? Hobby World.
Hobby World.
Look at me.
World.
I know things.
That's even more impressive than you initially thought it was.
Yeah, the name was masked, so it's even more impressive.
Yeah, so this, like Ryan said, this Gencon was like, it was super different, right? It was 35,000 people, which is half. This is
Yeah.
what they report. The vendor hall was so much smaller, but like Ryan said, it opened up space for that break area, which I really liked.
Yeah. That was
and I
cool. I
hope
liked
that they
that.
keep
That was
something like
really
that.
cool.
And also they
down to
made
eat
it
lunch.
Probably too big.
They
but it was still
shrunk
really
it,
cool.
right? So there was this behind the curtain area almost where some publishers got to like set up sort of meeting rooms.
Did you go back
kinda neat.
further than? So I know you're going to talk in a second about Off Duty Ninja, but was there more than that, or was that the only spot where there was? Because they cut off space in the vendor hall on like the entire back,
Yeah.
and I wonder
And
why
one
did
of the sides.
why did they do that?
Here's what I think, and I talked to when I met with Kira from who's the Off Duty Ninja, who's just incredible, and
She's cool.
I had a very different experience at Gen Con. I never thought I'd be like someone to review games, or that I would meet with a publisher and they would be like, what games are you interested in playing, and how's this channel going? It was just like, I was like, I'm nobody.
Yeah,
It was just so
Yeah.
cool to like meet people and have those conversations. But what Kira was saying, and a couple other people that were in our meeting were saying, is that they shrunk it because you still got that picture of that grandiose feel of Gen Con.
Yeah.
So instead of just spreading everything out, you could still make it look like there was a crowd in the hall when you took pictures and videos and things like that.
Doesn't that seem a little bit like, aren't we more concerned with safety?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But I think it's a marketing ploy.
Yeah.
Totally.
When you spread out the amount of booths, imagine that many booths being in the entire hall. There'd be like
there'd be tons
a block
of
between each.
Because even
I'm
with
surprised
how
there
it
wasn't
was, there
crazy.
was
I know.
big blocks of space, like those like open squares.
Yeah,
You know,
where like
all
we took
over,
the
where,
picture
like,
in
that
front of the
was
dragon.
never a thing.
That was a huge open spot. I'm surprised I haven't heard more bitching and moaning, maybe justifiably so, about that. Like, hey, why did you block it off? Why not just make it? We could space out more if we're really seriously concerned about coronavirus. Why are you boxing us in? Because there's less people, just because of marketing, like that.
I don't know. That was what they kind of talked about. I don't know if that's necessarily true.
No,
but
for
that's
sure.
a good.
Yeah.
It was a good thought.
Just
I was like, yeah, that makes some sense. That's what they want.
Yeah, I just don't. If that's true, it seems a little irresponsible, given the fact that we're still in the midst of this worldwide pandemic. However, and last thing before you go on, Jeff, is I was surprised at how there was really nobody that seemed to not wear masks. Masks were mandated.
Oh, yeah,
I honestly
mandatory.
think I could like count the number of even noses I saw in the vendor hall on like one hand.
It was like real. People were being really, really. They were taking it
Responsible about
serious.
it,
Yeah, like the break room, obviously it says you can take your mask off. The tables were spaced far enough apart where you could
That
sit
was
at a
great.
table with people, with your own people, and take your mask off. But in the vendor hall, it was...
All masks.
I
all
didn't
the
see a
time.
nose. Like, that's how... It's not like people were even dipping it below or wearing chin
wearing
strap
it wrong.
masks or anything. It was... I thought it was very, very well responsible. So the random pictures that you might see with someone like not wearing a mask,
Very
or
quickly
something,
they just pulled
that
down.
was very, very, very
Because you
few
could,
and far
like,
between.
Pull it down to take a drink or eat something.
Yeah, and I felt, I was even just a little anxious about going anyway with so many people. And, we haven't done that in so long. And when I was there, I felt completely comfortable.
Yeah,
Everybody
me too.
was awesome.
Me too.
Yeah, I agree.
I felt a lot more comfortable because right before Gen Con, I read an article that like said basically if you had the vaccine and you had COVID,
You're a superhuman.
that you're like double protected.
You're a superhuman.
So I was like,
Natalie's
I'm
better than
good.
everybody else. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, It's more impressive than you first thought. I am more impressive than I originally thought when I read this article. I'm a very impressive human.
And
if
I was
you
wearing a
didn't
mask,
know
which
that.
is triple impression. Yeah. Sorry,
But a lot of the people that I talked to, publishers and other people, actually liked the small feel of it. Again, small being 35,000.
I know, it's
They're
still
never
really
going to go
big.
back. Like, they're never going to go back to 35,000, right? If they can get 70, they're going to do 70, right? It's money,
right? Exactly.
But it was different enough where it kind of felt cool. You could legit stop at a table and look at something without getting bumped. Someone
Run
hitting you
over,
with a
yeah.
backpack, or
Even
that
just walking.
the people that bring their kids and have strollers,
Yeah.
like.
Yes.
You could actually stand and move and say, hey, I'm standing here, and see somebody. You could just find 38 people that you know as you're walking around. So that was nice to be able to walk through the vendor hall quickly.
Yeah, not
efficiently.
triggering agoraphobic.
That was
Friday,
nice.
Like Saturday definitely felt more like normal Gen Con with like the crowd walking through the vendor hall, but like Friday or Thursday and Friday, I felt like we were just like breezing through the aisleways.
Me too.
Like,
Well, and even like the hallways outside of the vendor hall, I'm like, it's like a ghost town.
Yeah, it was like nothing.
Which-
normally there's like people everywhere sitting on the floor.
Now, if you're Wally,
Relax.
Amanda, maybe no, Nelson's been before.
No, I don't
like
think
Alex
Nelson-
and
I don't think any
Alex
of them
and
have.
Alex and Evan have definitely never been.
Maybe Nelson.
But yeah,
I
it's
think
a different.
Nelson's been. But
They don't know any better.
They don't know any different. So to them, this is like, wow, this is huge and,
Right,
and
it's like,
crazy.
you just wait. It's like
but like this is
double
like
this.
half of.
Yeah, a lot of booths that we wanted to see weren't even there.
Yeah.
A lot of
Monsters
people I
weren't
found
there.
backed out last minute.
Yeah.
It seemed like Julia from Hobby World. She mentioned to us that she was one of the only European publishers that showed up.
Yeah, and I think that also might have freed up some of the when we see like these big spaces on the floor. That
Yeah,
might have been
they're
that was
supposed to
going to
have-
be Brotherwise, and they pulled out last. So
What
they
I
didn't have
found
that
out
kind of thing.
about Hachette, I think it's how that's pronounced. Hatchet
okay.
Games, Hachette. They were not originally supposed to be there because we talked with our buddy Matt Goldrick, who works for Quartermaster Logistics, and he did not know they were coming because the last manifest or whatever he had of the vendors, they were not on there. But they benefited from
People dropping
out, so they got that huge booth.
They might have the best booth there.
They had a humongous booth.
They
They had
had
a bunch of tables.
10
people playing
tables
games.
probably
that
demoing.
was probably the booth. Like that was like a normal booth at Gen Con. There's tables.
Yes.
People are playing games like all the time. Most other vendors at this year didn't have that. right?
Yeah.
They were just,
Like
you
just,
could
kind of.
maybe a standing table or two. Like 25th Century had a couple standing tables that you could go to, which was pretty cool. I liked that.
Yeah.
But they weren't. Hachette wasn't supposed to be there. I also found out that Hachette are starting to acquire game companies, kind of like Asmodee. I also found out Asmodee is basically going to be sold.
Sold?
Yeah,
Wow.
they are selling the company for like $2 billion.
It's a lot of money.
way.
It's a lot of.
$2 billion?
It's only a small number of billions.
A lot of shekels.
But
Well, they were purchased.
Damn. For a
Asmodee
game
was
company?
purchased a couple years ago by some parent company for like 1.4
I didn't know
billion.
games was like a $1
Shineheart
billion
Wig Company.
business.
Yeah, the Shineheart Wig Company bought them for like 1.4 billion, and so they're trying to get. I think it was 1.2 billion, and so they're trying, get a potentially
That is
profit of
very
800 million in a couple
surprising
years.
to me.
it's big.
Well,
They've done
Asmodee
a lot.
gobbled up a shit
Yeah, but
ton of
even
companies.
still, like in the grand scheme of things, the game, like board
Industry
game
is
world,
tiny.
isn't
Yeah.
like that big. So like, how I can't imagine that it was like $1 billion industry.
Crazy.
Or just at least one company could be worth like
Worth
billions
that
of
much?
dollars.
Well, they represent like a very large portion of the.
Yeah, that's true. They
But so
have a
they're
bunch of companies under them.
like selling them. They're being sold. Nobody's buying yet. So
The for sale sign is up.
Gamecasters
Looking-
crew, let's pool our money.
Yeah,
we
yeah.
could buy them. And the deal's like being brokered by like some like big famous bank or something like that. So that's a
Kinda
potential.
Back to what you were saying a little bit. The games that we had on our top 5, like games we're looking forward to last episode.
Yes.
A lot of those games we were looking for, and they weren't at the convention because those people must have dropped out or something, because they were on the list
Yeah,
that was
as
supposed
for
to be
sale.
there and they weren't there, and so there were several that we couldn't even check out because they
Check
didn't show up.
Check it out.
Yeah, it was a bummer.
Yeah.
All right,
In
should
that
we
way.
let
That
Jeff
was
go
kind of
back
bummer.
to what
Yep,
you
sorry,
were
Jeff, go
saying?
ahead.
Okay. Couple shout outs.
Let's do it.
Kira being the first one.
Kira.
Kira loved having this little kind of, it's like a private area, like a little booth. She could set up
Yeah.
some of the
Yeah,
games.
that
I feel
was
like I would have
cool.
never
It was
known
kinda
that.
neat.
I would have never.
I don't know. I had to
Wouldn't have.
ask someone.
It was
I'm
like it was like an optical illusion.
where is MR for? And I'm trying to figure. I'm like, what does MR mean? Is it magic?
yeah.
Yeah.
Is it, we're
What
trying to
the
think, and they're
hell
like,
is it?
oh, that's meeting room. I'm like, oh, damn,
Of course
that
it
makes
is.
sense.
Yeah, of course it is.
And all the publishers over there was only about 5 or 6, like in that small area, loved having that little booth to like meet with people and just to like kind of escape the,
It was like quiet,
that area.
There's no crowd. Yeah.
And Kira was like amazing and so nice, and was generous enough to give me a couple games and to play with my students, and just I'm super excited about playing like Atlantis Rising. I'll probably pick it on Monday for game night.
cool.
We were able to meet maybe like one of the nicest humans on the planet, Julia, at Hobby
Julia was
World.
so
she was
cool.
so nice.
So Julia was
candy.
working the booth. Okay, so she didn't really have time to go like meet somewhere, so we didn't go to the booth. So we went to the Hobby World booth, which was selling. If you don't know Hobby World is the original publisher of Furnace, who then sold those rights to Arcane Wonders, but then you could buy Furnace at both booths if you wanted
Yeah.
to. They had a couple new games. They had Dubious is coming out very soon. It's kind of like a cool social deduction game. But we got there, and Julia is our Russian comrade who we've talked about in the past.
That's right.
And
very nice to meet.
She was so kind.
She
and
was.
just seemed
Amazing.
so genuinely amazing. And
She seemed like she actually wanted to meet us.
Yeah, she
Yeah.
seemed like happy to
Like
talk
she
to
didn't
us.
seem like, oh, okay, so it's 5 o'clock. I got the Gamecasters here. Okay, so hi guys.
Right, and she wasn't acting
here's
like
a
Yeah.
like this is a professional meeting or anything. She was just like, it was,
yeah, I
Yeah, it
felt
was
that
horribly unprofessional.
Yeah, I felt that
no,
with
you
I
know,
know,
she wasn't
Kira.
like being like
Yeah.
all business
Yes.
or anything.
It was very cool. I
was
felt that
awesome.
with Kira, and I felt that with Julia. We're just like, she brought us chocolate from Russia.
Yeah,
Oh
we got
yeah,
Russian
we
chocolate.
each got. Oh yeah, I
Mine's
was
the
gonna
best.
give you one of mine because I know you like it the best.
Man, so this is the best
mine's
one.
the best. I like mine the
No.
best.
Both of yours are the best. Mine's third.
I thought yours. I
I'll
had yours
accept
first,
it.
and I was like, "This is incredible."
And the other
Well,
two were
'cause
better.
his-
And then I-
his was just
everyone
straight
I
up
ate.
peanut butter.
Oh,
It
it's-
didn't
yeah.
have any
Straight up.
wafer.
No
It didn't have
wafers,
any
no
wafer.
crunch, no nothing.
Yeah, mine was
I
the
think that's
wafery.
why
Mine was a wafery one.
Yeah.
He didn't like it as much.
Well, I mean, we're taking it personally, but she literally was just like, "Here you go."
Yeah,
here you
yeah.
go. Here you go.
That was super generous. She gave us pins. She gave us Russian chocolates. and
Right.
She was just
was just
really
so
nice
nice.
to talk to, and all of us like left that booth after talking to her. Like felt like we were like.
We left, and I was like, "This is my favorite thing we've
Yeah,
done so far."
we just
Yeah.
we're so
It
happy.
just, like,
Talk to a person.
I felt
Yeah.
like, oh, my heart got bigger. It was just
Yeah.
like a
Yeah, we
night.
were
It
all
was a
like, "That was
wonderful
amazing."
meeting.
It's a medical condition.
So like that was
Games.
such a cool. It was both on Friday. I got to meet Kira on Friday. I got to meet Julia on Friday. I got to meet and run into Chad at 25th Century Games, who Chris, Charity Board Gamer, is working at 25th Century Games, and I've met Chad just through email and stuff like that, and that was really cool to talk to him. He gave us a cool pin.
Yep.
He kind of like got to show us some like games that we're actually going to talk about today. So he was like so generous. And then we had an interesting meeting on Saturday.
Yeah.
You're going to talk about Maggie, right?
I will, but you can go ahead and talk about Justin. Huh?
I think a lot of people have been asking you about.
They have, yeah. People are interested to know. But yeah, you can go ahead and talk about it.
We had an interesting meeting with Justin Gary.
Justin
Gary is the, I don't know, CEO and founder of Stoneblade Games. Okay? Justin Gary's name is also on the Ascension box.
He is.
So if you're like, who's that guy? That looks familiar. He's all over Ascension. So that's his cash cow.
That's his cash cow.
That's it.
That's it.
And he's done some other stuff, incling, which we found out we were there, Night of the Ninja. Which we loved.
Yeah, that was fun.
That too.
Yeah, just doing things. So I basically signed up to meet him. Okay, and he sends me an email back. He says, we're going to meet in was it the Hyatt? I don't remember. It was one of the hotels that are connected.
It was the Hyatt. Yeah.
The Hyatt. Okay. And it was like Hyatt, room 1023, whatever it was. Right. And we kind of thought that was like a meeting room.
Yeah. Like room.
So I go to like the lobby, what's this person called at the front lobby?
The concierge?
The woman working the desk.
The desk
and I was like, listen, nice woman, can you tell us where 1023 is? And she's like, yeah, it's upstairs on floor 10.
It's a room.
We're like, holy shit, we're going to like a room?
And
then we're like, all right, well, we're dead.
Maybe we don't. Yeah, right? Maybe we just don't do
and
that.
In my head, I'm like, all right, there's three of us. There's only one Justin Gary. Like, I know he's probably stronger than us, but
tanned.
The three of us can take him maybe.
We got him.
So we go there and we like, it's also like kind of around a bend.
I can scream really loud.
And we're close to the elevator. They'll hear us.
Yeah.
So we like turn around the bend and the door is kind of like cracked open. And I'm like, okay, well, this is normal. So we knock on the door and he like opens it up and is like super nice.
He was just like, hello.
We did find out later that it wasn't
way back far from the door, like just
we like knock and run away.
I was kind of like, just let somebody hear me.
Yeah. So we did find out later that wasn't like his room he was sleeping in. He had like an adjoining room when this was kind of be set up. Yeah, it was just like
he had all these games set up.
Yeah, he brought us in and there was like the Ascension 10th anniversary was set up.
Yep.
There was his brand new game that is on Kickstarter now. I think there's about a week left, maybe a little less. So if you're listening to this on Sunday, it's called Soul Forge Fusion.
SOL, like the sun.
And he kept telling us it was like if Magic and Keyforge had a baby, right? Was that his?
Yes.
And it looks sweet.
It looks really cool.
It looks really. If you are into those type of games,
if you are Evan from Being Friends,
yes,
you were going to buy
need to buy it. If you loved Keyforge, or even if you thought, I think this is a major improvement on Keyforge. I think.
Yeah, it's got like a 2-deck system. So Keyforge, you would buy a deck.
The one.
And it's like a fully functioning deck, right? But it's random, and so there was like this deck could be weaker than this deck, this could be stronger than this deck. This one you buy, I think you buy a deck, you buy 2 decks maybe. You put them together, so it's kind of like Smash Up in a way. Like you have 2 different decks, and somehow algorithmically they are synergized and balanced.
Yeah,
and
amazingly with some super technology.
Technicalities of it all, and we were just kind of smiling and nodding.
I just remember he said something about like there's
more
combinations than like atoms in the universe or something.
It was crazy.
Yeah, some ridiculousness like that. But it seemed cool. It definitely gave me a Keyforge feel.
Yeah, same. Even just looking at it, like it had the mat like Keyforge with you lay out the
right in the same way. So again, Evan from Being Friends. Yeah, you got to get this, buddy.
Or if you're just like if you're a Magic person looking to get into different type. Yeah, if you're a Magic.
Like a wizard?
Illusions. You don't have time for my illusion. If you're a wizard and you're just looking for... If you're a mage or a wizard, you know what I mean.
It look cool.
That's called Soul Forge Fusion. He also showed us Ascension Tactics.
Oh man, does that look cool? And I feel like we kind of made fools of ourselves. We're like, when's this going to Kickstarter? He's like, a year ago.
He's like, it already happened. And we're like, damn it.
Oh, we know. We're in the industry.
So we'll just take this one.
Wait, was Soulforge the one that was like gonna end soon?
Yes. So there's like a handful of days left. So if you're listening to this when it comes out or within you can go back it.
Yeah.
But this Ascension Tactics was like Ascension mini game, like the minis game.
Looks
where
so cool.
you were like fighting against these monsters and you could then summon the monsters into your. It would just look so
like
awesome.
When the monsters come out in the middle row, you get like you got to fight it.
Yeah.
Like you're actually fighting it.
Yeah.
It seemed really sweet.
Yeah, it did seem really cool.
Also, what seemed cool, he's doing this Ascension big box, right? That because if you know anything about Ascension, there's 1,000 of them.
Yeah.
There's even like Jeff said when we walked into the hotel room, there was the 10th anniversary, which is essentially Chronicles of the Godslayer, which is the first Ascension. Then when you keep going in the room, there's Soulforge set up to your right. To your left, there was the new standalone Ascension. It
was like pirate
expansion game, like a pirate themed one, where it's the new Ascension, of which there's like 10,000 of them. Then when you go further, there's the Ascension Tactics, and then behind that he had this big box there, and it was the big box that just holds all the Ascension stuff. Everything Ascension, this big box holds. But the cool thing was, the top of the box lid was magnetized, and then when you flip it over, it's the board.
Oh yeah, that was so cool.
That was so freaking
we have a video
awesome.
of him talking about that and then showing the box lid.
Yeah.
And we need to post that on Instagram.
Yeah.
We'll post that for everybody to see because it is very cool.
It's cool.
I can't believe nobody ever thought of that before. That's like...
That might have been my fave. That might have been my moment.
Yes, he was
Gencon.
so...
That was
It was
awesome.
so nice.
He was so cool. Like... He was just another person.
It was weird he opened the door in his robe, didn't you think?
Yeah.
That was kind of weird.
I mean, he didn't know,
half
like...
open, but it was fine.
It was cool.
Yeah, he's a good-looking dude. So
Toned and
We
tan.
kind of felt... when we walked in there, I kind of almost felt like we were like the press, for him.
Yeah.
He
Well, we
I'm like,
are.
does he
We're the
know we're
media.
like kind of like nobody podcast? But like he didn't
We're an
care.
everybody podcast.
He didn't care. He's like
We're much more
press for
impressive
this
than you
is
initially
awesome.
think.
He's like talking to us like, please share this information and. I don't know.
Yeah, it was
like
awesome.
a different experience. I was like, wow, I feel like important.
And I learned some things. He's got this like design course.
Yeah.
Which I thought he's got this book,
very cool.
a book or two out on design, and so
Yeah.
I'm going to look into that for sure.
He definitely seemed very knowledgeable.
It was awesome. Which can I lead into the? Or do you have
I
something?
want to give two more shout outs. One, so before you talk about Maggie was awesome, amazing. I just wanted to say thank you for meeting me. She's not listening. If she plans on listening,
We'll force her to.
Maggie, Kira, Justin, Chad. It was just so Julia. It was just so cool meeting everybody. And then I also got to meet Rachel.
Sorry.
At I got
Don't forget about her.
Rachel.
Yeah.
Originally, worked at Resonum Games, and she was the first person to ever reach out to me and send me a review game. She sent me Mechanica.
Right, I remember.
And
you
that was
posted
like
about
the
that.
first time where I was like, holy shit, I could do something like this.
Yeah.
And
I was like,
she's
holy shit, I
so
bought that
kind
game.
and so nice. And I've like kept talking to her, and she has recently moved to working at CGE, and she's just doing like Twitch streaming, social media stuff at CGE. And I went up to the CGE room looking for her, and I was
we were
like,
looking
damn,
for
she's
her
not there. And
everywhere.
Saturday, and we were debating whether or
we were
not.
trying to find her the whole damn time.
Yeah, so I was like, okay, she's not there. And then for some grace of God or grace of the charity board gamer,
Yeah.
Rachel was there at this meetup, and I finally got to meet her, and it was just such a cool
Yeah, she was also
time
very
to like
nice.
talk to her and finally see her and just thank her for kind of putting me on the path of like reviewing and having the opportunity to meet all these cool people at this big convention.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
she was amazing. And
We forced her to meet Paula.
we
Deming.
forced her to go over and meet Paula Deming. We sent her the video, and she was
Did she
like-
watch it?
Oh yeah, she
Yeah.
like loved it, and she's like, "This is amazing." And because she
was
didn't
really
want to
fun.
go over to Paula Deming because she was like too nervous, but we were all
Forced us to.
cheering
It's
her
like,
on.
No, go, you're doing it.
And-
Just like Amanda and Tom Vassell. Like, they're just people. Go meet them.
They're just people.
Yeah.
yeah.
So,
So
it was very
funny,
cool.
like meeting all these people that we've like only talked to online. You'd think like in person that it would be like awkward and weird, and
Yeah.
I felt like it wasn't. I felt like we knew them.
Yeah. No, I agree with you 100%. Like when we met, I specifically remember thinking that about meeting Evan. Like I shook Evan's hand and we're like, "Hey, how's it going?" And I'm like, "This feels familiar."
yeah, like I
Mm-hmm.
We've
know
talked
you.
to him on video. You know,
Right.
we've
You've
had him on the
seen
show.
a bunch of times. You feel like
we
you
talk
know.
all the
It's kind
time.
of like with like Ben and Emily from Day Night Dice. The first time we ever met them, it's like you felt like you've already know them. You've been in their house because of their stories.
That one was more weird to me because of the setting.
Yeah, we were
Yeah.
in their
Because
home.
we're like,
yeah,
this
we're
is
not
where
like,
I
yeah.
see this online
This is where
all the
date
time.
night happens.
right.
Yeah, this is like their studio. It's
Yeah.
like it's a real house.
Yeah, but I just mean like you already feel like you know these people, so when you meet them, you're just like, hey, like
Definitely.
you're old friends, even though you've literally never met them
Definitely.
before.
So we've talked very briefly about this meetup that the Charity Board Gamer hosted. It was basically just in the exhibit hall.
Yeah, there's like
in
an
the
open
there was like an
gaming
open
area
gaming area
with a bunch of tables.
And so he just had a bunch of tables, kind of like, I don't know if he just like grouped. He probably didn't like reserve them.
I
I'm guessing
know.
he just got there early and was like,
Just
okay, we're
boxed
gonna
out
take
other
this table,
people.
this table, this table. Yeah, but so there's a lot of people there. That's where we ran into Matt Goldrick, a good buddy of ours. Yeah, I've known him for a bunch of years, from Quartermaster Logistics. We met Bonzinator, which is a streamer who
Yelled at Ryan.
yelled at me.
yeah, we played a game with her, and we played a game with
Yeah.
Paula Deming's husband.
Same game, but yes, played it. Yep,
Lawson, who
And
was so
Chris.
funny. So
yeah,
awesome.
that was a really cool time. We met Justin Jaybird the Word.
Yep.
Yeah, he taught us that game that we
Yep,
played.
that was
Correctly.
really fun. Yeah, him and Bonds kind of dual taught us, but
Yeah.
she found out she taught it a little wrong the first time, and he set her straight. And then we got to that's where we met Evan and Alex from being friends. That's where we met up with Rachel. Paula Deming was there too.
Yep.
A bunch of
Yeah,
other
Jackson was
people
Very cool.
there.
were there.
There's a bunch
Some-
of publishers there.
Some first-time designers
Yeah.
were there hanging out. It was just a really cool experience. It was really fun.
It was cool. It was cool that he put that together.
Yeah, thanks,
There was
Chris,
a lot
for
of
doing that.
Cool
That
people
was cool.
there.
I think he's doing it at Origins too, which is that happening now? Is that this
Is
weekend?
it this week? I think it's next weekend.
Is it next weekend?
I don't think
Origins
it's the
next
weekend after. I thought it was
Yeah, I
like
think
2
it's
weeks.
Two
after.
weekends after.
Yeah.
That's cool. One of the meetings Jeff set up was, he talked about a minute ago, was with Maggie from Greater Than Games. If you listened to the last episode, you may have heard me mention that I was going to be pitching my game to her. Jeff set that up for me, and I did, and here's what happened. They said no. So then we went back to the hall and got a demo of Arch Ravels, and I ended up purchasing it. And okay. So we met Maggie at a table in the lobby of the Marriott Hotel, one of the many Marriott
One of
hotels.
the Marriott, the
that we-
JW
Oh my
or the
gosh, there's all
Courtyard.
these
or the-
hotels that
like
were connected.
Three
to the
different
convention
Marriotts connected to the
center.
hotel. She's like, we're in the Marriott.
All
We're
these
like, oh my
hotels
God.
were so nice too. Like I was sitting in the like lobby area
yeah.
with like on all these super nice couches. There's like fireplaces and stuff.
Very cool. And there was a lot of like gaming events going on in the
Yeah.
hotels. We almost felt ripped off. We're like, wait a minute, we didn't know this was
Yeah.
happening. I think it was mostly RPG stuff, but it was still really cool
Yeah.
to see the convention takes over all the adjoining hotels. So we met with her at the Marriott. Adjacent to the convention center where real business gets done. And I nervously went through a little pitch of the game. The Samurai. Maggie listened, and after I was through, told me very quickly that they were going to pass. And the reason that they were going to pass, she said, was simply because they were looking for something either super, super light or super, super heavy. And the Samurai exists more into the medium, which is like in the middle of those two things they were looking for.
Yeah.
So not what they were looking for. However, the meeting did not end there, and Maggie, who Jeff already said is awesome, then gave me a ton of feedback and advice for my next go-round at pitching. She said I did a great job. My sell sheet had all the information on it that they wanted. She liked my presentation, liked the show. She even mentioned a few other publishers who she knew were possibly looking for something in the weight class that my game was, that she didn't have to say that or say that. Like, she's like, next time I talk to Jeff, I'll send him some contact information for publishers that you can reach out to. And they weren't companies that she was even affiliated with. She just was like, I think I know this company might be looking for this. So we'll get you some information. So that felt really cool. She talked about a few other things that I hadn't considered, like the theme. The theme of the game is set in Japan, as it revolves around the story of Akira Kurosawa's Seven Samurai. And she kind of coached me. She was like, just so you know, if you're not interested in changing the theme, just be prepared to answer questions about why you chose it, as publishers need to be very careful about, potentiality of cultural appropriation, as I'm not a member of the culture of the game I'm portraying. I didn't even think about that.
Right.
You know what I mean? I was
It's
just
a
like,
great point. I didn't think about it either.
I guess that makes sense. People could say like, oh, what's this white guy doing, making a game about Japanese people who he doesn't know anything about, so it was just a very interesting thing that she wasn't saying like, change the theme, you can't do this.
No.
She was just like, be mindful in future meetings, you'll probably be asked about this, about why you chose that theme.
Yeah.
She's like, I know, and I'm sure you've been developing the game for many years, so, it's a little different. Times are a little different now. She also told me about the artwork. I've had my cousin working on the art for a few years, something that I've been very proud of because it's amazing artwork. But she was just like, if you're going to go the route of pitching this to a publisher and selling your game, she's like, they're just going to scrap your artwork. That's just the way it goes. They're not going to take your artwork into account because it's their company. They're going to buy your game and put their stamp on it. Which again, I was like, of course. She's like, if you're going to self-publish, go with this artwork. It's beautiful. Like, she liked it. She's like, but if you're really serious about selling your game to a company, stop paying this person.
She's like, save your time, save your resources,
save your time, save your money. Don't stuff that she didn't have to say that. It was really nice.
Cool.
Let's see. She told me, she was like 99% sure they were just going to scrap it. Overall, it was a really informative conversation, and I was very thankful for it. And I thank Jeff for setting it up for me.
No problem.
Because she could have just been like, we're going to pass. Good luck.
She can be like, no, see you later. I got
Good
another
luck.
meeting.
Yeah,
it was.
but
there
she
was
did.
25 minutes of really positive mindset, like growth mindset advice for you, I think.
Yeah, like I didn't feel like she was like, okay, this is not ready. You know,
Right.
you're like,
It had nothing to do with
I don't
your
like. It didn't
game.
seem like it had anything to do with the game itself. She was just like, well, we're personally not interested. I almost felt like she knew, you know, like, well, we're probably unless it's super super light or super super heavy, I'm going to tell him no. But I almost felt like she came there for me to like, I'm going to coach him. This is his first time pitching because that was my first time pitching.
Yeah.
You know, I just pitched it. Me and Jeff were just kind of right there. Jeff watched me pitch it, and I kind of like fumbled through the, you know, here's what I'm doing. She had like 2 things to say that were just like, okay, you know, I would question this first off. Just as what people might say, you know, if, obviously you're the designer, so you know what balances and what's not. But, you know, the artwork, the theme, that, and then here's, you know, she like coached me on my cell sheet. She's like, I can tell you spent a ton of time on this cell sheet, and it's great. It looks really awesome. She's like, but, you know, going forward, you don't need to. It doesn't need to be laminated. You know, you just get it, print off a piece of paper. The information you have on it is great. You don't need all the artwork. You know, I mean, it's whatever. I have it all now.
Yeah.
So I'll just use it now.
Yeah.
But I think she's, because like going forward, you know, if you pitch any other games, just keep in mind that you don't have to spend. She's like, I'm not looking for you. Oh, here's one thing I wanted to say that she said that I loved. One thing I was worried about, and I've been worried about pitching the game and stuff like that, is are my numbers correct?
Yeah.
It's hard
Is
for
it
me because
balanced?
I'm not a numbers
Scoring,
guy.
right.
Like, is this resource costed appropriately for what it does?
Yeah.
And without me saying that, she mentioned, she was like, look, I'm not looking for a game that you pitch to me to be balanced. She's like, you're the designer. All the designers that pitch the games, their games aren't balanced. They're just, you know, they think, because they're the designers. They're not the numbers people.
Right.
We do that. We
Yeah.
take the game and develop it based on your design.
That is very good information.
And when she said
to
that, I
know.
was like, oh.
I guess if you did it
took
on your
so
own
much
at like
weight
Kickstarter,
off.
you'd have to, right?
Yeah.
But
She basically
Well, that's
said she
part of what
brings
you
it to
get
like
by
a
selling
team.
it.
that's
She brings
the
it to a
part.
team, and they go break this game.
Yeah, break the game. Here you go, break the game. Which is what you want from play testers. The hardest part about, and that's one of the main reasons I wanted to sell my game to a publisher, is because nobody will play it. You know, that's just how it is. People just don't want to play it.
Mm-hmm.
It's impossible to just be like, can you just play test my game, and then, you know, they'll play it maybe one time, and then, you know what I mean? It's just people just don't do that. But if you bring it to a company, they have a team of play testers.
Right.
That's
They'll
their
give it
job.
to you, and that's what they do. Yeah. So overall, like I said, great experience. I cannot wait. I'm actually excited for her to, you know, reach out with more publishers for me to go after, because the monkey's off my back now, and I feel like, okay, I could handle another meeting now.
A kind of little
this.
fire, right? A little bit like, let's do this.
Yeah, like, okay, this was a good meeting.
Yeah.
You know, I was nervous that she was going to be like, what are you doing here? This game's not cool.
No,
But she
it was
didn't say
so
any of
cool
that. You
she
know?
took the time to kind of guide you through the process and give you advice. And
It was awesome.
Yeah, it was so nice.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
Do you guys have any other thoughts on Gencon you want to talk about?
oh boy.
Oh, do I?
Well, I guess
boy.
some of the
Boy,
games
do
we're gonna
I.
like talk about later. We went to an escape room. That was really fun.
Yeah, it was a good escape.
It was
room.
like
The
a
escape room
submarine.
was very solid.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a solid escape
It
room.
was solid.
Why'd you say it like that? She's making fun of you?
It's a solid escape.
That's what. Yeah, it kind of was.
I kind of
That's
was.
fine. That's okay.
I kind of
can
wanted to
take it.
mention our Airbnb was so awesome.
You had a great
It was like super
Airbnb.
like trendy and cool looking, and it had a horse shower.
It did. It had a sign on the wall that said "Get naked."
Yep.
And it was like this.
The horse
big-
shower is just a large shower.
It had
like
a
a
horse
big
shower and it had a
bathroom.
bird-cage in
It
the
wasn't
living
like
room.
outside. I don't know how you would have got the horse up the stairs, but
Right. That's
If you
true.
could get the horse up the stairs,
Well, it was
that's
like-
true.
It was like this
Like
big
an actual
bathroom.
shower for horses.
Well, it was just like
course,
on,
Jeff,
it was just
idiot.
like totally open with like a glass wall, like
It was
blocking
like
part of
really
it.
long. I kept calling it a horse shower because it was
But it was
extremely
not like
long.
enclosed at all, except for like one glass wall.
That was the one thing I didn't like
And
about
it felt like you're just like taking a shower in the middle of a giant room.
You were.
It was weird.
It didn't get warm because typically when the shower is more enclosed, the steam is locked in and it keeps
that's
you
the
warm. But
point.
it did not happen, so it was freezing in there. But I told you to get naked, and I listened. And there was a bird cage in the living room.
Another thing I wanted to mention was
just like, don't care.
I know.
What?
Another
That was
thing
like the
I
best
wanted,
chair.
The one thing I wanted to mention was I found this to be really funny. So on Sunday there was a football game at Lucas Oil Stadium. So like Gencon it normally has like some stuff going on in Lucas Oil, and it didn't this year because football season had started. And
Which is why I think they had the open gaming room in that exhibit hall.
yeah,
And that was typically for
oh,
Lucas
that's right. Okay, so we saw this article that basically was like the away team who played on Sunday, they couldn't stay at any of the nearby hotels because they were all booked because of Gen Con, and so they had to stay like far away. And there was like this article written about it.
Silly sports team.
Nerd stuff. Cancel
Silly
football.
sports ball. What do you think about that?
It was like cracked me up. They're probably like, a bunch of nerds are in town.
Stupid neckbearded freaks. Look at these basement dwelling fucks. I'm just trying to play football. God.
I have something.
These stupid dweebs. Yeah, what happened?
I did something on Saturday.
What happened on Saturday, Jeff?
So let's go back. On Friday.
What happened on Friday?
I was able to finally meet Lydia.
So
Lydia
we
Waymire
saw her
from.
I saw her
yeah.
Thursday. Was
It was probably 2 seconds after Natalie saw
right,
Nelson.
It was. She walked right by us. We were in line getting island noodles.
Oh,
Duh.
we're outside.
Where we mostly are.
Yeah.
If we're not in the vendor hall, we're in line.
If we're not in the vendor hall, we're eating island
Yep,
noodles. Those are the
basically.
two things we do at Gen Con.
Yeah.
Yeah, she like walked right by. And it was like, there's that Dane Cook sketch where the guy gets hit by the car. And Dane Cook's like, it happened so fast, all I could get out was,
Yeah.
or something like that. And I felt like that's what happened. Like, she passed us, and by the time she was, like, walked past us, my brain was like, that was Lydia.
Yeah.
And
Well,
now
she was
she's too
easy
far
to
away
spot.
to,
She
now she's
had
too far away
blue
to
hair.
scream at.
Yeah.
Yeah, she had bright blue hair. Right, I'm sorry, so go ahead.
So we met up on Friday. So it was the first time I got to like see her in person, and she was buying a bunch of games for her students, and it was just really incredible to see her. You know, she's been like an inspiration for me of how to like incorporate board games in the classroom, and the benefits that she brings to her room are like unmatched. So it was cool to just meet her. And I knew she was presenting on Saturday.
She was another one I felt like, when we met her, I felt like we already met her.
Yeah, I
same
felt like
same
we knew
thing.
her. Yeah,
I've had so many
totally.
like
Yeah, especially you. You've seen her face to
Skype
face
conversations
on
with her
Skype.
and phone conversations with her about, you know, this kind of stuff. And she was presenting on Saturday at 12 o'clock, and I wasn't able to go because I didn't have a trade day badge. And I was talking to her. I was
Right.
like, I don't know if I can go and see it because I don't know that. She's like, I'll go get you one. She's like, I presented yesterday at the...
I know the president of
Yeah.
Gencon.
She's like, I presented yesterday at the DEI presentation for like diversity, equity, and inclusion. And the president of Gen Con was there, and he asked me to have whatever. So she's like, I'll get you something. Okay, cool. And then that led to basically, you're going to be presenting with me.
Yeah.
I'm like,
By the way,
okay.
I want you to talk.
By the way, you're going to come up
Lots
here. I
and
have a
lots.
slide for you. You're going to come up here and have a conversation with me and talk about it. So I suppressed any anxiety, and I was like, okay, well, let's just
What do you want me
do
to do,
that.
not
So
talk at this thing?
on Saturday, on Saturday, the three of us went to, because
Yeah, she got us
was
in too.
also like, you know, bring the Gamecasters, we'll call them press, and
Yeah, you're the press.
yeah. So she met us out in the lobby of another hotel, some other Marriott hotel that we went to.
Yep.
Right.
We played 2 games that were both kind of fun. So we'll talk about the 2 games first. We played a game called Taco Cat Goat Cheese Pizza.
Taco Cat. Goat cheese pizza. Taco Cat.
That's how she
Goat
told us
cheese
to remember
pizza.
it.
Yeah.
And that game is super funny. So if you're looking to play
was
that, it's
funny.
basically you start with like a small deck of cards and you say those words in that order. So
cat.
when I flip a card over, I'm going to say taco.
No matter what's
No
on the
matter
card.
what.
Even
I
if the
just
card is a
flip
cat.
and I say taco. And then Ryan flips and says, I'm like looking at it, cat,
Go in
goat.
order, yeah.
And then as soon as the word you say matches the card that's flipped, or everybody tries to smack it. And if you're the last one to touch the cards,
them all.
you put them in your
Yeah.
stack of cards,
Yeah.
and then you try to run out of your cards the fastest.
Right.
It's like a super fun game. I already bought it. I went to
did
RW
you?
and bought
Oh,
it because
cool.
my
It's
kids
like
are
a
going to
Happy
love it.
Salmon
Yeah, my
type
kids
of
are going to love it.
experience.
They're just going to play it over and over and over again. And then we played a game called
Flapjack,
flip out.
No,
Flapjack,
Yeah,
flip out.
Flapjack,
I'm
Flapjack
right.
Flip Out.
Damn it.
Thamit? Did you just say Thamit?
Damn it.
It's Thanos and Damn It combined.
Wait, I just want to say something real quick about
Flapjack,
Taco
Cat,
Goat Cheese Pizza.
Yeah.
I
Pizza.
posted a video of us playing that on my like personal Instagram.
Yep.
And like several people like messaged me who are not game people, just people I know in life, who are like, "That's my favorite game," and I'm like, "I've never even heard this
Well,
game."
I think
Cool.
you can get it at Target, maybe?
Yeah, I think it's
that's
a
why.
Target
I
game.
think that's a why.
That's a buy.
I think that's a why. You can get
Damn
that at Target. Yeah, flip flop. So we
God
played
damn
Flapjack,
it.
Flapjack flip out. And it's basically there's a bunch of face down pancakes. They're like tiny circular cardboard pancakes, and
Yep.
everybody has like a ping pong paddle looking flipper.
It's like, you know what it's like? The paddle. It's like one of those things you got when you were a kid that had the ball
string
and
and the ball.
attached to it.
Yeah.
Except there's no string and ball.
And then what you do is you flip over an order, and the order says what kind of pancake, and you have to take the pancakes, which are all face down, put them on your flipper flopper, and you flip them,
See? Flipper
and then
flopper.
you catch it,
Flip flop.
and then you want to catch it
right side
up, so you see what the pancake was, and
Like
you try
the
to collect.
flavor.
So
what
if
you
there's
have.
one of them's like an apple pancake, one of them's like a cinnamon pancake. The order might say you want an apple cinnamon pancake, so you got to get those two.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
So
it just
flip
ended
the
up with
order.
pancakes flying
Oh, yeah.
around that
I
lobby
could
like
not
it's
flip
nobody's
that
business.
pancake.
There's a video of Natalie. I just happened to take a picture, and Natalie's throwing the pancake directly onto Lydia's hair.
It was hilarious. It was just those two games
It
were really
was
fun.
funny.
It really broke the ice of going in the room and presenting.
Yeah,
And
probably
Lydia had this
helped her
amazing presentation of board games in the classroom and how to incorporate it and inclusion. And I then, awkwardly stood up and wandered up there and talked about how I've incorporated some board games in the classroom, how we've done board games across the country together. And it was just a very cool experience. Again, this Gen Con I experienced a lot more than I ever thought I would. And just, it was such a different Gen Con for me,
Yeah.
but also incredible.
You
It
guys
was-
did a
yeah.
really good
You did a
job.
great job.
Ryan and I, we're not educators or anything, but we were sitting there and we were very interested.
I teach games. I'm an educator.
Yeah, but we were very interested in the topic. We thought you guys did a great job.
It was
It
great.
was so cool seeing all. There was probably 30 people
Yeah.
in
The
there,
participation
and they
was-
were
was
all
outstanding.
participating
Yeah, it was
and
very-
had
that was cool.
questions,
Yeah.
and it was very cool. We were very impressed.
It was
Thanks.
impressive. It was you wouldn't have known that you just hobbled it together 2 seconds before. You would have known that she just asked
I
you to
did.
present
She
the
didn't.
day before.
Yeah. It was,
You know,
it was
you would
very
not have-
cool.
you
So
would not have
I
known.
thank her, and it was just awesome meeting her. And
It was great meeting her.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was
cool-
really fun. It was fun playing flapjack, flapper.
Flipjack, no.
Flip.
Is it flip out?
Flapjack,
flip
flip
out.
out.
Flap. I really thought it started with a flopper.
Yeah, you thought it was a flopper.
I thought it was
Natalie
flopper.
thought there was
I
a
knew
hole.
You're
flapjack
shaking
right
your head at me
away.
like
Natalie was
flip
like,
hole is any
Natalie
better
was
than
like
flip
flapjack
flop.
flop hole.
Yeah,
Flip flap flopper hole.
there's a hole in there somewhere. You're like shaking your head like, oh my god, I can't
Oh,
believe he thought
you're
it was
so
flip
dumb.
flop.
No,
It's
it was
There's
flap, flap,
definitely
flap.
flip hole.
It wasn't that I couldn't believe you thought
For
it was flip flop.
fuck's
It was
sake.
that you said flip. You guessed flip flop 15 times,
felt
and we said
different
no
every time
every
I said it.
time, and you still weren't guessing
It
it.
felt different every time I said it, and right every time I said it. I was like, oh, it's flapjack flip flop.
Flapjack flip flop.
Is it? It's flip flap flip.
I got it. Flapjack flip flop.
Floppers, flopper, flap floop. Flap on, flap
off.
flap on, flap off. The flapper.
Yeah, so that was Gen Con. I know it was kind of a long debrief, but who
But
cares?
we had a
Fuck it.
lot
It's
of
our
fun.
show. We
It was
can
a
do
lot
what
of
we
fun.
Do whatever we want.
Yeah.
Turn the camera.
You have to
They don't all
listen
be
to
the same
them.
length.
Banter can be longer. Who cares?
So we bought a bunch of games as well. There's Gen Con is usually the event of the year where I stockpile a ton of games at once.
Yeah.
This year, it wasn't only the convention that was 40% downgraded. Also, my gaming acquisitions were
Yeah,
about 40%
for
reduced.
sure.
I came home with
Me
about
too.
40% of what I normally come home with. Normally, it's a haul that makes me a bit embarrassed after the high of the convention has calmed down. You know, this year was different. This year, I kept it to
more
a manageable
reasonable.
10 or so games in total. And we played a few of them. Want to hear about it? Here we go. We played a game that I'd first like to talk about called Juicy Fruits. It was on my most anticipated list from the last episode. We've all had a chance to play this one now, so I'll give a super quick run through of how it plays, and we can just skip to the part where I cream all over the game, leaving more time for cleanup. Gross. So Juicy Fruits is a game designed by Christian Store.
There's a joke. Juicy something
Juicy,
there.
yeah,
With you just
Juicy
said.
Gross.
Yucky.
Juicy Gross.
Juicy Gross.
Christian Store is the designer of this game. Also designed another popular game you guys might remember and enjoy called Pictures.
Oh.
Really?
Yes,
What's
really.
this guy trying to do? Win more spiel de
I guess so. But it's a game designed by him about growing delicious fruits and selling them to score points and adding businesses to your growing island. Each player has their own player board in front of them with 5 tiles of fruits arranged in like a number 5 pips on a dice pattern on it. Surrounding the board are ship tiles that have different combinations of fruits on them that you want to supply throughout the game to score points. The way you collect fruits is you simply take one of the fruit tiles on your board and slide it in a straight line until it hits another tile or the edge of the board. The number of spaces you have just slid it is the number of that fruit that you collect. So if I slide my banana tile. If I slide my banana tile 2 spaces to the right, being stopped by the pomegranate tile that's already there, then I collect 2 bananas. After you collect fruit by moving a tile, you can then either spend the fruit you have to supply a ship token, getting points. If you do that, you remove the ship token from your player board and score the amount of points on it, but that also reveals another space on your player board that you can now move fruit onto. So as the game goes on, you can kind of set yourself up for turns where you may be collecting up to 4 fruit at a time, which always feels super cool. If you don't want to or can't supply a ship token, you can instead choose to claim a bonus tile from a shared bonus board. This board also has fruit requirements on it, and once you fulfill a requirement, you get to take a bonus tile. Those tiles do all sorts of different things, from just giving you straight up points to allowing you to collect fruit more efficiently, to allowing you to be able to produce ice cream and milkshakes that bring all the boys to the yard, to end of game victory point conditions. It's a really cool puzzle that's light enough to not be like too AP inducing, but heavy enough that it feels worth it. It's definitely a light medium game. The game ends once so many of the business tiles are claimed, and then whoever has the most victory points is the winner. So things I liked about this game. I love that sliding mechanism of the fruit tiles. I thought that was a really clever thing. It's different, but it did kind of remind me of the sliding resource mechanism of Ulm, which I loved as well. And I feel like there's games don't do that very often. Mm-hmm. Figuring out which resources to move or which ship tiles to buy and remove to set yourself up for really cool turns was a lot of fun. The fruit resources are also freaking awesome. They're humongous. They provide a really good tactile feel. They kind of remind me of the resource equivalent of the Seasons dice. Yeah. Like, you get regular dice, and they're sweet.
Big.
You get regular components, and they're cool.
They're gigantic
those
runts.
Dice are huge.
Yeah.
They're like big.
They're gigantic runts.
Juicy Fruits ones are like, they're like gigantic runts that are like more like squared. Ugh, they're so...
Yeah, they look great.
They're really, really cool. You just want to handle those damn things and feel them on your little finger pads.
Yeah, your finger pads.
I really enjoyed the bright, colorful artwork and thought that it was the perfect theme for this weight of game, which is pretty light.
Yeah.
It's not a huge brain buster of a game, but it does give you more to do that I feel like it will see the table more often than similar games in this kind of weight class, like a Coatl. Which outside of its components was just kind of dull, personally. The game has that slide puzzle aspect, which I think is what really brings it up for the potential replayability. Things I didn't like. All that said, I do wish there was just a little more to it. I wish the ship tiles on your board maybe did something else other than just give you straight up points. Like, it'd be cool if they also granted you a benefit, or if there were like tiles that had endgame scoring conditions there, or patterns of removed tiles on your board did something. Like, that could be kind of cool. The juice factory is something that you can add, but I almost feel like that should just be part of the game. You know, that's like a variant technically in the rule book, but I don't think I would ever play without it, personally. It doesn't add... It adds just the right amount to make it...
Right, and just gives you something extra to do.
A lot of times, if you don't play with the Juice Factory, you have turns where you literally just collect fruit and then you do nothing because you're setting up. But Natalie's right. With the inclusion of the Juice Factory, now you can take those like excess fruits that you maybe don't need for, you know, the other tiles that you're buying, or it's even a strategy to like, I need to take these so I can go for it. Yeah, because you get a bunch of points for it. Overall, that's nitpicking. A lot of the negatives I have are nitpicking. I really enjoyed this game. What did you guys think?
We go clockwise.
I enjoyed this game too. Like, Ryan thinks I didn't because my state of mind at the time was I was very tired, and the game went very long because we were kind of chit-chatting throughout the whole game.
Yeah,
so it went longer than it should have for such like
flapjack.
Yep, flap.
longer than it should have for like such a light game.
It's just light strategy game.
It's light strategy.
But I did like this game. I agree. Like, I think the sliding mechanism is really cool. Thought it was interesting that there was like a lot of different options, I guess, or ways to play it, because we all played it a little bit different.
Yes, good call.
And so, like,
I didn't even think
for
about
example, like me and my sister, I don't remember about you, but
I played.
Me and my sister, like,
Frankie.
we were both like fulfilling a lot of like the tiles that were on the borders of our board.
I did that too a lot,
giving us points that way, but that also allowed us to like slide our fruits even more, so we could get more fruits at once. But like Kyle, he like hardly got rid of any of those tiles, and so like every time he was getting fruit, it was very contained and limited, and he would only get like one or two at a time. Right. And then like there was like an ice cream strategy. There was all these different tiles on the main board that you could get to like try to give you end game points.
Right, Frankie got one
did
of
that.
those.
She
got a bunch of
was kind of
that.
like behind us the whole time, but then she got a bunch of end game points where the rest of us didn't get any end game points, so she kind of like caught up.
There's a tile, I don't know if it came out in your game, Jeff, where if you clear each side, like if you clear a side of the beach of all of its ship tiles, you score 4 points.
Okay, we didn't have that one come up.
Yeah, so
if you cleared like all of them, you'd get 16 points
plus all the points you're getting for clearing the tiles.
Right.
So
yeah.
it's like
that was like kind of her strategy, and so I like that it was like a lighter game because again, that might be something we pull out on like a weeknight or something. But also, I liked that. Stop it. But I also, like I said, enjoyed that there was a lot of different ways you could play this game, and that made me feel like it might be a little different each time, or you could try new things each time.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, yeah, I was really like ice cream strategy. I'd heard was OP from the 3 threads.
From some guy that played it once.
Yeah,
overpowered.
Oh,
so
like that's the only way to win.
Yeah, like oh man, I played with ice cream, going heavy on ice cream. And, I don't know if you can beat it. And there was a couple of replies that were like, I agree. I played it this way, and it seemed very strong.
That was not your experience.
But so, yeah, in either of my plays, when I played online with a 3-player game, I was like, I'm going to go hard ice cream strategy because it looks like it. I didn't win. I got second place.
Yeah.
And then this game we just played last night with Frankie and Kyle, I was the only one of us who didn't buy ice cream stands at all, and I won by like 10 points.
Yeah, I bought all of one type of ice cream. I was last place.
It goes to show you, like, when a game just comes out, it's a little irresponsible to be like, "Oh, this is broken."
Don't you think
broken?
Someone else played this game more than you?
Maybe they know that this is costed appropriately.
This is someone who's designed other games, a publisher who has put out massive, well-respected games. You think that your one play, you pesky human, think that one play, you're going to find out what's OP? Like you're some freaking genius that figured it all out?
Yep. I love this. He's now the mad board gamer. There was this one thing.
Who is that?
When we were at, you remember, Jeff, when we were at Michigan, it might have been Michigan, we played 8-Minute Empire with this guy.
Yes.
Do you remember that?
Yeah, I do remember that.
Before we played the game, because it had just come out at this, like not at the convention, but it had just come out, he bought it, and we were like, he was like, you guys want to play 8-Minute Empire? And we were like, okay. And that's a Ryan Lockett game. Mm-hmm. And I remember he was reading the rules, and he was like, I think I have to house rule something. And I was like,
yeah, I remember
reading the rules? He's
no,
like, coins, I think you don't get enough of them, so I think I'm going to house rule that you get like
before
3
he even played it?
Yeah, he was just reading the rule book. And then we played the game by the rules, and at the end of the game, he was like, oh, no, I guess it's fine. I'm like,
why would you think you know better than the people who...
Yeah, you don't.
People are so, like, what did you... It was just like, the arrogance.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
Well, if you've played it 100 times, then you can come talk to me.
Yeah,
right.
yeah, exactly.
Like the guy that created who's played it 1,000,000 times, or the playtester who's played it 1,000,000 times.
Like, oh my God. But people do that. People like see something one time, they're like, well, I played it this way once and this happened, so that means it's going to happen every time.
And you didn't factor in like who you're playing against.
Yep, what they're doing.
Yeah, so if you see someone doing a strategy, you should probably do something else.
Yeah.
Anyway, I really liked the game.
Tell us your thoughts.
I liked the slide puzzle. I thought it was cool. I really liked how it expanded, like as the game went on. Right, you start with your first couple turns are probably
one, maybe two.
I can move this. I take my one pomegranate, take my one banana, take my one lime, and then it's like, okay, now I get rid of the ship. Now I can take 3 of something. Mm-hmm. I could if I move this out of the way 1, and then so I like setting up good turns and thinking about, all right, most of my boats need a banana.
Yes,
so let me
that's exactly how
go
I
at bananas.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then I can look at this market board, which I really liked, because the market board, you can spend your gigantic runts on these market tiles, and then those add to your board. And there's a cool tile that you can get an extra resource and either or, like a banana and lime tile. So you could get, if you move it 3, you could get 1 banana and 2 lime, and then a bonus one.
Yep.
And I liked that a lot. The thing with the ice cream, right? You're adding a tile to your board, so you're kind of clogging up your board. Yeah. But that can give you some cool things, because you can just buy ice cream and make milkshakes. And what I also liked about that is you're then the only person that can do that, because you have that tile. So Devin had ice cream in our game. I couldn't make ice cream because I didn't have the ice cream cart.
There are 2 of each, just so you know.
Okay, yeah, I just didn't have. They were at the one was out,
didn't
so
come
it was
out.
gone. And then
didn't come out.
I like that you can buy. There's a cool point in the game where you almost have to like pivot, kind of. All right.
Boarding versus,
Yeah, so I'm getting all these resources. Maybe I'm doing my boats. Now I need to pivot to what's going to get me most points. And some of it are those big square tiles.
Yes.
So you can take up, now you're losing 4 spots in your board, but you don't care anymore because the game's winding down.
About to wind down.
And I like finding that sort of pivot point a lot. I loved the production is just awesome.
Nice. Yeah, it's really nice.
I would say the flip side, downside of that, this is...
Flip-flop.
Flap side. The flip hole flap side of this. The flop side of this.
The floppers.
Is that it is more expensive than I would want to pay for a game this light. It was $60, I think.
Yeah.
This game was $60?
And
Damn.
Maybe.
I think it was maybe it
Might
was
have been.
50. Either way, this could very easily be a game that would fit in a box like Red Cathedral or Codenames or something like that with smaller pieces, smaller board, stuff like that. It could fit in a game, but the production is over the top, maybe to a point of too much.
The geek market doesn't have any American versions, but all the European versions, the highest price is 40.
Okay, maybe all right.
So maybe
Still, it could be.
I don't remember how much we paid. Did we pay that much?
I don't know.
You might be right
I
though.
don't
Even if it was
remember buying
$40, it's still a light game. It's a light game.
It is.
But with that, it's also a game that
40
I
seems more
think,
reasonable.
it could hit the table a lot more because I'll never have to read the rules for this.
Yeah.
You move a tile and you.
That's a great point. It is very, very it's like the simplest of games.
Devin and I could pull it out really any night when we feel like playing a game but don't want to learn any rules or don't want to be taught. I really enjoyed it. I'm happy that I got it, and I know it got a couple knocks like right when it came out about a couple things. It's not like the highest rated thing on Board Game Geek. It didn't get but I really enjoyed it, and I don't know if people were expecting some heavy, deep game out of it.
Well,
because
it's
not.
Because I think Capstone is one of the distributors.
Yes.
And it's in their like family weight,
which is fairly new, I think.
Category
Right?
family weight that they. Yeah, so I think because typically Capstone puts out very meaty heavy games,
right?
So I
maybe
think
people were
you're right.
expecting
I think you're right. I
something.
think people are like, well, this is a Capstone game. It's going to be.
But yeah, it's also
gonna
like
be a brain
I
burner.
think it's a good family game. I think Cameron could pick this game up.
Yeah,
10-year-old
I
could
think
pick
so
this
too.
game up and
Yeah.
play just fine.
Yeah, absolutely. It's
Yep.
easy enough because I mean, it's literally just move a tile, get a fruit, pay the fruit back,
Yeah.
and get points.
Yeah.
There's nothing complicated about the rule set, but it still felt to me like I got to think about this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you even mentioned at one point, like, oh, this game's light or maybe medium. And Kyle was like, I don't feel like it's that light.
Yeah, he's like, it feels to me. Like, I'm
he probably
spending
was like-
energy because that
Yeah.
slide puzzle, for someone like Donkey Kong is probably super simple. But spatially for me, I'm like, okay, I got to put this over here. That opens up that,
Yeah, but now I'm losing my
not-
line
yeah, it's
and
like,
to
man,
get an
it's
extra
not-
whatever.
like, I really
the
need a
rules are
mangosteen.
simple, but you still have to think a decent amount.
Yeah.
I
to
think
figure
that
out how
slide
you want to play
puzzle
it.
mechanism for me personally is what will keep this game coming out. Or something like, again, like I'll compare it to something like Coatl, where I'm like, okay, Coatl is cool, but you're just drafting them.
Yeah, or
If you
even
were, like,
Azul, right? Where you're just kind of drafting. We've done this in games. The
like
slide
the
puzzle
slide
is unique.
puzzle is enough that it's like, okay, this is hard. It's a little hard. It's kind of hard.
Right. Like, I need 3, but now I'm trapped and I can
now
only
I
get
can't-
1.
Right, now it's going to take 2 turns to do that.
Yeah.
And oh, crap, are they going to get that tile that I want first?
Yeah.
Like, they can see, because you can see the resources everybody's got.
Yeah.
So if, okay, Ryan's got 2 mangosteens and 3 limes. Oh, he's going to go for that ice cream stand. But I play in front of him, and I could get those right now. Maybe I'll take that, so he
Yeah.
doesn't. It's like that stuff can. So timing in this game, it's very much a race.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways.
Yeah.
So, that was great.
Yeah, give it a thumbs up.
Yeah, me too. Overall, I really, really enjoyed it. I'm happy. It was one of my most anticipated games, and it lived up to
Yeah,
the
it
hype
was.
from me. So, what you got, Jeff?
I got a game that has been redone.
Ooh.
It came out a long time ago by the doctor,
The Doctor, konnichiwa.
and then the doctor redid it.
He brought it back to
I don't know
life.
what happened. I'm
He
assuming there's
resurrected
some rule changes or some little upgrades and blah, blah, blah. But
it. Yeah.
I recently read that the same company that made Apples to Apples, or publisher made Apples to Apples, made the original Tutankhamun.
What?
So let's get called Tutankhamun
Interesting.
by the doctor.
King Tut.
And it's funny that it's Tutankhamun, but he's King Tut. Shouldn't it be like King Toot?
King Toot.
King Toot.
King-
Yeah, that's a good point.
King.
Because it's a toot.
Get it?
Get it?
Damn it.
Damn it.
Yeah, Thanos and Dammit combined.
Yeah.
Dammit.
So this game was on my list to check out. It
Yeah,
wasn't
me
on
too.
my top 5.
Same here.
And it was...
We both came away with it.
Yeah, so we went... I think we saw it on a Friday, and then Saturday they said they're
Yeah,
going to
because they
have it
weren't
out.
demoing it. Right.
Yeah,
when
or
we
maybe
met
it was the other
Chris.
end. Thursday was out, whatever.
Yes,
So the
you're
next day they were like, we're going to have it out demoed. If you want to
Yeah.
come back and check it out. They're
You're
like,
right.
we have enough. Cool. So we went back. And then, of course, they had this deluxe edition.
I know.
Which was just like this whole fucking thing about,
Yeah.
you take my money and we'll give you this cool play mat and we'll give you these wooden tiles. and
$20,
blah,
but
blah,
you
blah.
also get a pin.
Yeah.
Jeff only paid $15.
Yeah, that's true. And then you could got a pin, it's just
Yeah.
it's a
marketing.
It's this game that I lose at all the time. Of, take my money. So in Tutankhamun,
That's funny.
King Tut has died. Isn't that sad? Players are filling his tomb with artifacts that will travel with him to the afterlife.
You get a tomb, don't you?
You get a tomb. The tomb is okay. So there's the tomb is the bottom of the box, and then you put would it be like the sarcophagus
Yeah.
inside? It's just like it's decoration.
It's
I would
just
say, isn't it
decoration.
like
It's
pointless?
completely decoration, but it's like King Tut's tomb. Like, it
cool.
sits there.
Yeah.
So it sits, like, in the box, and then you basically, when you're spending these artifacts, let's talk about, you put them in the box. So it's kind of, you throw a little theme in there, right?
Yep.
So you start at the bottom of the box, which is where King Tut's tomb is, and you start laying out these tiles in, like, a snake pattern. Okay?
Yeah, like
maybe like the Nile.
Oh,
maybe the tiles get laid in the Niles.
The tiles on the Niles?
The tiles in the Niles. But what this game mat is, the freaking mat, which was an extra $20.
Sweet, though.
It was sweet. That basically rolls out and becomes the river, and then you lay the tiles on the river.
The tiles on the Nile.
And
really like
another upgrade that you got, so if you just buy the regular game, which is totally fine, and I might recommend it, but buy that. You just punch out. You would just get cardboard.
Yeah, but don't
pieces.
You not get the? Yeah, you don't get the
wood.
wooden thing.
The wooden
Sweet.
pieces are so awesome.
Yeah.
So that might be worth
They're
it.
chunkified.
The mat you might not need because then
That's cool too.
I know, but you're carrying it around. I don't know.
Yeah,
but
you're
anyway,
right. That's a good point. You can't fit it in the box.
You can't fit it in the box. Everything else you can fit in the
Comes
box.
in a
The
tube.
mat you cannot. So you lay this out. So think you have the box, and then you lay out these tiles in sort of a snake pattern. Okay, and players are going to start at the end of that Nile tile river.
What's the shape of a snake pattern?
What's the shape of a snake river? You mean
You don't know what an S looks
you mean
like?
what an S looks like?
Oh yeah, right.
So all of these tiles are either an artifact or they're like an Egyptian god. Okay.
Oh.
The artifacts have numbers on them. Those numbers indicate how many tiles there are, as well as the points that tile is worth. Okay. At the beginning of the game, the score tracker is also on the top of the box, which is kind of cool. So you have this little like marker that slides onto the box and doesn't ruin the box.
Like
thankfully.
straddles the box.
Yeah, like straddles the box.
Oh, yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, like scissors the box. So it sits on the box, and everybody starts with points. Depending on how many people are playing, you start with points. So anywhere from 18 to like 30, you start with points.
Huh, weird.
It's a strange mechanic, and I don't really know
Like why?
but anyway. So you start at the end of the Nile tile river, and you can move your boat as far up the Nile tile. Broat.
Okay.
You can move your boat as far up the Nile tile as you want.
Let's see.
And that was also something that I don't know if I read or listened to something, but that moving far up the Nile, that was in the original game.
Okay.
And I wonder if because that game's old. The original Tutankhamun's
Yeah, is
old.
that the inspiration
That
for
might
something like
be
Takedo and all
so
those games that have come
thinking
out?
about it now, like if that was a
Easy,
mechanism,
Back
40 years, 50 years ago, that's pretty cool. He did that then, and now it's
I mean, it's not that old, right?
I don't know.
I don't think
Is
it's
it
that old.
40 years?
Let's
Is it-
see.
Is it an 80s game?
Oh, is it that old?
I don't freaking know.
Let's
We were
find
born
out.
in the 80s. We're not in our
1993.
40s.
Okay, 93. So 93 would make it
That's a long
almost
time
30
ago.
years old.
Ooh, God.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if it's 30 years old, if this was the first game to do that kind of go as far as you want, but
Yeah,
you can't go backwards
that
sort of
is
thing, that's pretty cool.
Well, he's the doctor.
So yeah. So you can go as far along the Nile as you want, or you can move one space backwards, which that might be an addition, which is kind of cool.
So if you move stupidly, like almost all the way down the end of the line, you have to then just go backward by one
Yes.
tile to get. Wow.
Which could be an interesting way to play the game. But yeah,
Yeah.
you could go all the way to the end, and then you could just one step
Hop back
backwards.
each
But you
time.
couldn't go as far backwards as you want, right?
Right.
You can only go one backwards or as far forward as you want.
Wow.
Whatever tile you land on, you take it. Most of the time, when you take a tile, nothing will happen. If you take a god tile, it lets you do something. All of them have their own like separate powers. The base game, the normal game, comes with 5, I think, of the Egyptian gods. The deluxe has a few extra ones. It allows you to do things like swap tiles, remove tiles from the game, maybe pick up a tile that was behind you, just kind of game breaking, changing stuff, which is kind of a cool.
Interesting.
That might be something that's new. That is a must, I think, in the game. If it wasn't there, I think it just adds another layer that I liked
Yeah.
to kind of a light game.
Okay.
So most of the time, you're just taking the tile and adding the artifacts in front of you. The moment that the last artifact is taken from the Nile tile, or from the tile Nile, from the tile Nile,
Niles.
the moment it's taken or gets removed,
Flip, flap, flip,
because
flop.
once someone moves past the last tile, ones behind it fall back and go away. So that's how they go away into this like other area, the
dead,
unknown or something. So it goes away. So the Nile is kind of disappearing behind you as people pass it, as the last person passes it. So once all of the tiles of one artifact have been taken or dumped out into the thing, that tile is going to score. So the number, you look at who has the majority of those tiles, and you get those many points. But by getting those points, you're actually losing those points.
Oh.
So if I have an artifact with a 4 on it, okay, that means there's 4 of those in the Nile tile. Okay? I have 2 of them.
Backwards. That's weird.
I have 2 of them. Natalie has 1. 1 has been discarded.
Yep.
All of them are gone. So I just took the last one to now have 2.
Sure.
I look at mine, I go, I have the most of these, I get 4 points.
Natalie really going backward 4 points.
But I go backwards 4 points.
Yeah.
Natalie has the second most, she gets half of that, so she would get 2. If it was spread out, you would get 1. Ties are always broken with whoever further back on the Nile, which is another reason why you don't want to shoot up as far, which is kind of cool. And you are basically racing to get back to 0. The moment you get back to 0, you win.
I see. So I guess that could potentially make more, like if it's like a race to 50 points, that maybe would seem more arbitrary, maybe? It like makes more sense in your brain, like, okay, just run your points out.
Yeah.
And once you're out, you win.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure if there's some theme to like, this is how much you owe the king and you're the first one to do it. I don't really know. But
interesting.
So the numbers on the tiles are 2, 4, 6, and 8. And yeah, the game ends when someone gets to 0, or there's basically, which I don't know how it would really work, or there's no more tiles left and no one's reached 0, and then it's just whoever has the lowest number of points.
Wow.
Yeah.
And it's light. I would call it probably in the same weight, maybe even slightly lighter than Juicy Fruits.
Oh, really?
Oh, wow.
So me overspending this, I think, probably was $60.
It was.
55.
Yeah.
For the mat, for the
mat,
deluxe, for all that kind of stuff. I overpaid for a light game, but I really liked it.
And I even overpaid even more.
Yeah, $5.
Yeah, $5 more.
$65.
I really liked it.
$5.
I bought it. We went back to the Airbnb. I learned it in like 10 minutes. And I was like, hey, I'm ready to play.
I remember that. That's why I brought it last night. I was like, I know Jeff learned it like almost instantaneously.
Yeah, move and take and then move back on points.
Yeah.
Right? And it took only probably about 25 or 30 minutes for the 4 of us to play for our first time. So if we like played again, we'd fly through it. I just love the move as far as you can mechanism. I think that's just a cool way to do it. I loved it in Agizia, and Takedo does it well, and it's just it gives me the feeling that I can do whatever I want.
do whatever I want.
I can go as far as but like look at what I'm risking, right? It's that like cost benefit, like how far do I go? And then there's also a lot of like playing each other as you move, because if I move past something, this allows Ryan to now pick up this, so he's getting majority in this tile. Or do I move forward because I already have majority in this tile? Do I move and take the tile so it scores and nobody else gets any points? Or do I move and guarantee myself second place in a different one? So I love that you don't have to really win every single artifact. Mm-hmm. If you take second in a lot of them, you're just in the mix, right? You're right there with everybody else. So there's a strategy of doing that. But there's also one where I think I had a 6 tile where if I passed it, it would automatically score, and I was the only one that had it. So on my turn, why wouldn't I pass it so nobody else can get it? And then I'm the only one. You're the only one getting points. Yeah. So I liked those kind of fun decisions. I thought that was really that made the game for me. There's also a moment at the end which could go both ways. So this one play that we had, it was very evident that on Leaf in the Wind's turn, Chris's turn, that he was kind of he was going to make the game. His decision was either going to
like king make,
because Joe had a couple and he would have taken second place. It was the best move for Chris was to take this one. He would have lost 8 points, but Joe would have got 4 and he would have been to 0. If he doesn't take that, Dave probably ends it on his turn. So
as soon as you get to 0, game end.
Game ends.
Okay.
But there is time where we kind of like thought out, like if Chris doesn't do that, what happens? Mm-hmm. So on my turn, I was next from Chris. I could have done something. And then Dave moving, he would have moved past the end of the Nile River and he would have eliminated the tiles behind him, which would have scored my tiles and his tiles.
Oh.
So that would have ended in a tie.
Right.
So then we would have looked at the end of the Nile. So there's at least,
back? Yeah.
There are some, I don't want to say tricky plays, but there are some creative plays, because when I said that, they were all like, oh, I didn't even know that you were planning that or you did that. I'm like, that's cool. So I'm hoping that every play doesn't end in like, well, we kind of know. Like, let's just play out the last couple turns. But maybe that was just our one play.
Sure.
Either way,
you're not going to call it broken after the first
it's something's overpowered.
Yeah, this is stupid.
Yeah.
Whoa.
But really, I enjoyed it. This was a win, a game that I think I overpaid for, that I know I overpaid for. But I'm happy to keep around. I'm happy to keep my collection. Yeah. I can bring it to Board Game Club, and they can learn it very easily. I'm not bringing the mat. We can play it at game night to end the night for a 20 to 30 minute game. And it's, again, another one where I will never have to pick out the rules. You just know. You will have to look at what the God tiles do, but it's
simple.
Light, simple. You can play it with anybody. It plays up to 6 too, which I really like. That's a good number. 2. I think it would be good with 2. I think it'd be a different like racing dynamic. I think you could pass up tiles more and maybe move backwards. Maybe using that backwards jump mechanism's kind of cool.
Yeah.
There were a couple times where when we played it, that backwards jump came into play because we were thinking about, oh, if I move past this, I'm guaranteed second place. But then it's like, oh, damn, Ryan could move backwards one. And he could take that. That was kind of a cool. I don't know if that was in the original game. If it wasn't, it was a great addition because that changed what you could do. Like, oh, I could go all the way up there, or I could mess up somebody and take this tile. You know, like it forced Dave to maybe take that one, so he had majority because then. So it was. I give it another thumbs up. It was fun, light, easy. Production was amazing. Art was very cool. Tutankhamun.
That's awesome.
25th century.
Tutankhamun, 25th century games.
Tutankhamun.
Another game we got to the table was a tile-laying game that was on Jeff's list last episode called Land versus Sea. I admittedly wasn't that interested in this game. I had heard about it, but it just
nice list, Jeff.
It didn't grab me. No, it wasn't
Stupid
that.
game.
It was just like I wasn't like amped up about it.
Yeah.
I was just like, okay, I thought that sounded cool. Natalie and I were walking through the hall, and a table was open to demo the game, and we were just kind of like, what else are we going to do? Make out behind the AEG booth again? We already got kicked out of there. So we sat down for a game. The guy teaching also didn't do much for my excitement for the game, as he was just kind of like, have you guys played Carcassonne? And we were like, yeah. And he was like, well, that's like what this is. You just match land tiles, and she matches sea tiles, and that's it. That's what he said.
Yeah.
Like, oh, cool.
And we were just kind of like,
There's got to be a better way to do that.
Yeah, like, okay. And he taught us fine. He taught the rules correctly and properly, which because I read the rules again the next time we played, and I was like, let's just make sure we did this correct.
Yeah, you never know with those demo people.
Yes, exactly.
Those demo people.
But yeah, so he said that, and I was just kind of like, okay, well, let's just get this over with. Kind of
Nice list, Jeff.
Yeah. It sounds like it was maybe going to strip away too much of what I love about Carcassonne, because I do love Carcassonne, but I was wrong. We started playing, and very quickly I realized how difficult and stressful and fun the game is. The guy teaching the game was right. You just match up land tiles and sea tiles based on your side and play until tiles run out and see who wins. He's not wrong. But man, the game is so much more than that. It's got so much tension and jockeying that it was really a good time, I thought. I was very surprised because it's just, you have land tiles, I have sea tiles.
Yeah.
I'm trying to close my sea tiles, you're trying to close your land tiles. Who can do that the best? That's it. That is all there is. It didn't help the excitement when he explained it, but after playing it, you realize it's just, I don't know how to explain it. It's harder than it looks. So let's see. The way the tiles work can be difficult to close the sections off. All right, in our first play, Natalie had built up this area of sea that, if closed, would have given her like 10,000 points.
Yeah, it would have given me so many points.
It was like the entire size of the board that we had created so far. However, she soon realized that there were so many unclosed ends of that area that it would likely take her either the entire length of the game to finish it, if at all. So she kind of abandoned that.
Which happens in Carcassonne.
It happens in Carcassonne.
Oh, I got this big castle.
This big castle, and your opponents are making it bigger because, I would place a tile. That's what the thing I don't think she realized or I realized. I'd place a tile that helps me, and then it unwittingly makes hers harder to complete now.
Yeah.
Right.
And so she, I think, was kind of like, oh, I guess I should have made. And the guy did tell us it works better if you make plentiful, smaller cities or areas.
Yeah.
It's harder to complete those big ones, right? Mm-hmm. And that can happen a lot in this game. You'll be building towards a nice city all ready to close it off, and then your opponent plays a tile that helps them and also adds another side to your city that you now have to spend more time closing. Also, there are these little bonus symbols on a lot of the tiles, and if you close your city or sea off, you get those as bonus points. However, if your opponent happens to finish or close off a region for you, then they get those points.
The points, just the bonus points, or the
Just
points, the whole
bonus,
thing?
Just the bonus points. So it's really cool, though, because there was a moment in our second play where Natalie had like this huge 15-point city. She was about to close it. I couldn't stop her. I could see him, like, she has the tile to close that city. And it's kind of like, it went against everything in my brain. I was like, because my brain was like, you can just close that city.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm giving her 15 points. But there was like 8 points of bonus points.
But you're taking those.
So I get those. Yeah.
It's a big swing.
It's a big swing.
Yeah.
Right. Instead of
Did you do it?
I did it. So I did it. So.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. So she got those 15 points, but I get the bonus points. Which, again, is like, well, I think the bonus points were 6 points, but still.
Yeah.
It was really only a 9-point turn for her instead of a 21-point turn.
Yep.
Right? Those kinds of decisions present themselves in this game a lot. So you play until all the tiles are added to the board, and then you just, like the guy said, you see who won. There are other ways to score, which you can add in. There's like these other tiles that, like, give you different ways to score.
If you cluster certain... there's a bunch of extra pictures.
There's artwork and stuff on the tiles.
Yeah, so you can use that artwork to cluster together to try to get more points and that can be another variant in how you play the game.
And it adds to the replayability of the game, like an advanced variant, I guess. But I honestly would play the normal way for a long time before I would need to add something like that in, because it seems like it would be very boring very quickly. But the 2 games we've played of it so far, I'm like, it was hard.
I agree. It doesn't seem like
really hard.
It doesn't sound like it'd be that exciting, but it is.
It is. It's very tense. It's very tense. There's these little powers you can get on your tiles. One tile will have a power that lets you play, because on your turn you just play one. You have 2 tiles in front of you. You play one to the board. You either score points or whatever, and then you refill your tiles back up to 2. That's it. But there's a bunch of tiles in the game that have this icon on them that when you play it, it lets you play your other tile right after it. So you could potentially set yourself up for a pretty cool turn where you could complete one or even more sections on your turn. There's another icon on a bunch of tiles that lets you take a tile from your opponent. And that, when he explained that, I was like, I'm not going to like that. That's going to be too mean. It wasn't. It didn't feel that bad.
Yeah.
It more helped the person taking it than it did hurt the person being it taken from.
Sure.
In our experiences with the 2 games so far. So things I liked. I did not expect to like this game as much as I did. I was very surprised that I liked it so much. Hearing it explained again, it just sounds boring. Probably you're all thinking that too, maybe, because it doesn't sound that exciting. But actually playing it was so good. I really like Carcassonne. It's a top 10 game for me. And this really did give me that Carcassonne feel in a condensed package. Like, okay, I really need to close off this region. Am I going to pull the right tile in the right time to get it done before she can either extend it or close it off for herself, stealing away those bonus points? I also really liked the simplicity. Literally, all you're doing is placing a tile. That's it. There's no other components to deal with or keep track of. You have 2 double-sided tiles in front of you and are choosing which one to play in your turn. Bada bing, bada boom. That's it. And there's something to that where it's just, you have a stack of tiles and you put them out there. Another thing I want to mention about this game, you don't have to punch out any tiles.
That's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Like, what is that about? You open the box, the tiles are already punched out in a stack, waiting for you. Play me now.
Play me.
You don't have to wait any time. I mean, a lot of people might feel robbed, because I know there's a subset of gamers out there who love to punch out the games, and it's like therapeutic for them. Personally, I find that tedious and like, get me away from that. I like trading for games sometimes because they're already like packaged and ready to go.
Yeah.
And one thing I didn't mention about Juicy Fruits that I wanted to and I forgot to, it doesn't come with any baggies or any way to store the game.
It didn't?
No, you had to add your own.
I have yet to pack it up. It's still sitting on my table.
Oh.
You'll have to have bag. Otherwise, you have to just throw everything in the box.
Yeah,
they
that's
give you
weird.
no storage at all.
That's for psychopaths.
Which is craziness.
I have plenty of bags.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Got plenty of bags. But
still,
rarely do you.
Hopefully, it really was $40 because $60 with no bag.
The game company's just like, figure it out on your own.
It's
You
probably
better have
40.
your own
You guys are right.
baggies. You know, it was. I thought that was really weird. That doesn't typically happen. They usually give you enough to at least put the shit back, but you have to just dump it all in there. Anyway, so that was a very small nitpick, but I was like, huh. But yeah, with Land versus Sea, it comes pre-punched. Man, do I love that. That was super cool. Things I didn't like. This is another game where simplicity, I guess, could be an issue after a bunch of plays. Even with the other ways to score points, I feel like eventually you're going to need more from the game before too long. But, I mean, who knows? It has a patchwork weight to it, but I feel like it needs that other dimension maybe to stick around permanently. Like, Patrick's got that economy system with the buttons. And so that just creates the long-lasting power. Jeff has a question, and I would like to give the floor to Jeff.
My question is, do you think that the different scoring could be that layer?
Hopefully. Yeah,
It could be,
I think
we
it
haven't
would.
played it with that.
Yeah, we haven't played with that yet. So I think it would. It's not like baked into the rules of the game. You know what I mean? So I don't know if that's enough to hold you.
Well,
over
I could
for
definitely
a long
see that
time.
making it more difficult because
It's already hard.
Now
Yeah, it's
instead
already
of just
so
like
hard.
trying to, enclose your land or your sea, you're also trying to place tiles
in such a way
that you make extra points by putting these
Right.
certain pictures together, and on top of just trying to like enclose these things. So.
I think it'll definitely help because, like I said, even without that, I would play it at least another 5 times. I feel like is just a number
Without
of throwing
needing
out,
that.
without even needing that. Yeah, so I think it will last a
That's
while.
a good, and in the way that we play games, it's a good thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Right, because Yeah.
Yeah, we don't play games.
We don't play
over and
I mean,
over
but
and over.
this has the potential. So Natalie and I are very interested in games that work well with 2 players that are quick. Like Codename's Duet is like a perfect example.
Yeah.
This I think is gonna fit and fill in a spot for us. We're gonna just play. Hey, want to play Land vs. Sea tonight?
100%.
It's so
Good.
quick.
I'm glad we
and
talked about it.
Both like it a lot
because I wanted it too, and I actually almost bought it for the opposite reason because I don't know if Devin will like this. I don't know. But I'm like, damn, it's a cool 2-player game. And I know, like you said, they have 3 and 4-player variants. It's not really. I assume it was just for marketing,
teams, right?
right?
Yeah.
It was like, oh well, make it to 4 so people can.
Yeah.
But it's a 1v1
Yeah, 1v1.
game.
Yeah.
And I'm like, will Devin like it? Probably not. But it just seems cool, and I want it.
It's really cool. She might. You never know.
Yeah.
She might. What did you think?
I liked this game a lot.
All right.
Yeah.
First, I want to say when we were
That's good.
when we were playing at the demo at Gencon, we didn't play a demo. We ended up playing the whole thing, and I don't think we were supposed
Nope,
to.
we weren't.
Good.
He kept saying that. He's like, well, people just like play a few turns. We're like, oh.
We just
I don't
didn't
care. I'm
care.
playing the
We
whole
just
game.
kept going.
Well, nobody was around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The only people
I
that
came over
by
there and was
Jeff.
able to like stand and sit
Yeah.
next to you.
Yeah, people were
It
like
wasn't
standing
people.
around
Amanda
waiting.
and Wally came by, I think, for a second too.
Yeah.
And yeah, we were just like, we're just gonna play it.
Yeah, and it ended up going pretty quickly. Even the guy was like, he's like, oh, okay, that went faster than I thought.
Yeah.
You know? But
Well, it was fun.
But
I
yeah,
was like,
that's
I don't
why we
wanna
like
stop.
didn't want to
Yeah.
stop.
I was like,
We
I
just
don't wanna
want to
stop
keep
now. I wanna
going,
see what happens.
Keep going, and yeah. So like that's a big plus. I am not a huge fan of Carcassonne. Like it's okay to me. But I really
Blasphemy.
like this game. So like I don't really know why this game like hit so much more than Carcassonne. Well, I guess I kind of know. I think my biggest problem with Carcassonne is aren't there like a lot. Okay, I'll tell you my biggest concern with Carcassonne. My issue with
Carcassonne.
Carcassonne,
Yeah, Carcassonne.
and it's gonna make me look stupid.
Nah.
Which is this
No,
is
let's hear it.
actually the
If
reason.
it's
hear
the
it.
field thing,
That I don't-
that's common.
Yes, it's the farm.
The
or
farming
whatever.
is hard
I
to wrap your head around.
Literally
It's common.
cannot see it. Like I can't see a farm.
You can.
No, I can't. Like
Natalie,
I can't. Like,
let me-
figure
You
it out.
literally can see.
I want to be on your side here for a second. When I started
Just for a
to play
second.
Carcassonne, I was playing Carcassonne with people who had played Carcassonne, like Ryan and Bill, who'd played it a lot.
Yeah.
And that was the hardest thing for me to wrap my head around, and why I was winning for most of the game and then ended up losing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
of
you're making
farming.
cities and you're making roads and you're doing okay.
Self-conscious about
It's-
it that I wouldn't even try.
The moment it clicks in
for
your
farms.
head, you will start to dominate Carcassonne.
Yeah.
It's weird
I
for how
believe you.
simple that game is. People who play that more can own the farms and then you win.
Yeah. Well, because I would just avoid the farms at all costs because
Yeah,
I
you
was
can't do
embarrassed
that.
that I couldn't even figure out like is
How they
this a
work?
farm? Is this
Yeah.
like I
For
couldn't
some
figure out
reason,
how they
I've
work.
never had a problem with it, but I know
Yeah.
that people, it's like a big deal.
Some people are just like, I'm not doing
Yeah,
farms.
we're not
And it's like,
playing-
well, you're going to
well,
lose.
Yeah.
Well,
that's what I-
also, there's some
that's why I
people
don't
that
like
play.
playing
Yeah.
it.
There's people that play that they're like, we're not farming is not a thing you can do. We're playing without
We're
farming.
house ruling this.
Yeah, they do.
Wow,
That's like a
okay,
thing
so
people
I'm
do
not
because
alone.
no, you're not alone.
Okay.
I don't understand it
No.
personally because to
No,
me,
you
I don't
don't
know, for
sound
some
dumb at
reason
all.
to me, I'm
Yeah.
like it's
It's just
I don't know
like
how you don't
so
see it.
Well, and then it's hard
difficult.
because you
People just
can like join farms, right? And
Yeah.
it's,
and so like
it's
when
a
you
tough
guys
thing.
would be like
game
adding
gets
up points,
awesome.
and
Awesome.
you're like
Yeah.
this, and I'm like, what?
Yeah.
I still don't even know what you're talking about. Like, wow.
So having not played Land vs. Sea yet, there's also there's a lot more randomness in Carcassonne where you're pulling tiles out of a bag blindly, right?
Yeah.
And then you have to place this tile that you get. But it seems like in Land vs. Sea, you see
You at least
the
get
tiles
two-
that
you
in front
get
of
two
you.
choices.
Well,
And are-
not even two. You get 4 choices
well
because they
when you're
have-
drawing.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
when
Yeah.
you're drawing, you get.
Yeah.
but yeah,
two
so the
choices,
front and back are different.
Right.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. The
Yeah.
front and back
so
are
that's
different.
like another. So, anyways, okay. So, I feel like because it took out that part of Carcassonne that I don't like, it was just kind of like dumbed down, simplified.
Yeah,
Your land,
yeah.
your sea. I don't even have to choose. I don't even get to be land and sea. I get to be either land or sea, and so it's
Yeah.
that simple.
I don't get to be roads
so
or
all I get to
like, yeah.
focus on
Yeah,
is like
that's-
closing in
That's
one.
true.
And I agree. Normally, we don't like games that like mess with the other person, but like the fact that this game, you are gonna, have to mess with somebody, not even on purpose, but just to like try to enclose your own stuff, and it might like screw someone else up or make their, land or sea more difficult to close. I kind of like that tenseness because that's just part of the game, and
I
it
agree.
doesn't feel mean.
Well, you don't feel like in a game like
oh,
Paris,
you just fucked me over.
you're just like, now I can't fucking play this
Yeah,
tile.
you're just
I'm
like, oh
ruined.
no, now I need a couple more
All you
turns
can
to
really
figure
do
this
is
out.
like either steal those bonus points away, which you're still getting the majority of the points, so it doesn't
Yeah.
always feel
Yeah,
that
you
bad.
can steal that.
Or you can just make it a little harder for them to complete.
Yeah.
So none of it feels too.
But you're probably not playing the game to just screw over Natalie.
I think some people would. We don't.
Sure.
maybe.
A placement, most people are going to play it where, you're going to try to finish the land, and if it happens to mess up Natalie, you're both doing that at the same time.
Right, yeah. And so, I mean, I like the simplicity of it, but yeah, it still feels difficult, intense. I love that it's like a 2-player game, and I agree with you. It feels like has that same feeling of like Codenames Duet, where like, you know, it's simple enough. You just pull it out, play it, but it's tense enough, you know, where it's like challenging, you know, and it's not some little light game like you said, the rules are light, but it's not, doesn't feel light. And
rules light, brain heavy.
Yeah, and there isn't.
Weirdly though,
but weirdly,
because it's like so simple. Why is it like that?
Right. Well, it's because like, and then you're like, you have these tiles, and so like you said, you can see the tops of the tiles that everybody has, but on the other side, there's different images on that, so you can use any of those four. And the other person doesn't see what's on the bottom of that, so they only know like half of what you could possibly play.
Plus, every tile has both land and sea.
Yeah.
So while I'm like working on building like my own little spot over here, Natalie's expanding it that way, creating more opportunities for me to score as well.
Yeah.
And so I think that's part of where the thinkiness comes up, because in Carcassonne, you kind of control, okay, I'm working on this city, and I get another tile, okay, I'm going to add it to this city, you know, and then like Jeff's making a city over here, he's already involved, so I could potentially get into it if I wanted to, but you're still like, you can focus
a lot of times you're doing your own thing.
Yeah, in this game, there's like a ton of different, you look at the board and you're like, there's a smorgasbord of opportunity. I wanted to say smorgasbord. And it's all like, where do I put, I could go for that city now, that one. Natalie just put 2 together over there. That helps her see, but that could also be a cool city for me.
Yeah.
And it just, you get overwhelmed quickly, but not in a way that's unfun. It's almost like, ooh, there's so many choices. What do I do? How do I do this the best?
And you're right. And you only have 2 tiles sitting in front of you. But like I said, there's 4 options really. And then on top of that, with those 4 options, you have to look at all the different things going on the board and be like, should I put this one here? Or is it better if I put this one over here? Should this one go over here? You know, so that's what I mean by it's simple in rules, but not that simple to necessarily play. And I liked it a lot when we played it at Gencon, and then we like played it again at the Airbnb. I liked it just as much.
Me too.
I was jealous. We were playing.
I'm really glad that we got
Tutankhamun.
You were playing Tutankhamun.
Yeah.
You're waiting for Man and Wally to drive around different areas.
Why it took them so long? What's going on?
Yeah. So that's like, so we talk about Juicy Fruits, Tutankhamun, Land vs. Sea. Those are 3 lightweight winners.
Yeah.
Those are winners from
very
Gencon.
good games.
I'm sure we'll come back with some not winners from Gen Con. Those are 3 lightweight
I do
winners.
have one that I just didn't talk about.
But it's interesting that they're all lightweight because, and we talked about this on the last episode when we made our like top 5 lists of games we were looking forward to. There just didn't seem like that many heavier.
There wasn't.
Or Euro games that were out there.
Yeah, there really wasn't. There was a couple. I know we ended up probably getting some of the more heavier ones.
Yeah.
Or pre-ordering them.
But there still wasn't very many. Yeah, Origins, which wasn't there, which we pre-ordered, was probably maybe the heavier one. Iki I got, but that
Merchants of the Dark Road is a pre-order, so no one's having that yet.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I have Old Tree, but that's like a cooperative game, so I feel like the weight is always never super accurate sometimes on those games.
Yeah, for sure.
And I'm looking forward to playing those heavy games. It was easy to get those light ones to the table last week. After just being exhausted from Gen Con,
the best kind of games.
It was easy to get all these light games. So if you were looking for a heavy, in-depth game this episode,
not going to happen.
Go to pick another one.
Maybe next time.
Pick another one. Maybe next time.
Go back and listen to another episode. We talked about Lisboa one time.
But there were three winners.
Yeah,
like, those are good games.
I liked all of those.
Because the more you talk about Land vs. Sea, I'm into. I'm excited to play.
I know you're going to like it. I think Devin might like it.
Yeah.
I think she might like it too.
Yeah, I think she might like it.
It's going to take you like 2 seconds to teach it.
Cool.
You know,
So I like that.
Yeah, right. Really quickly. So that is Land versus Sea. If you're looking to support the show, maybe consider flushing your money down the Gamecasters toilet by way of our Patreon page. There are 4 different tiers which will get you access to behind-the-scenes content, exclusive content, or content ahead of time. You will also get swag that nobody else has access to, and just the opportunity to help out and support a podcast which you sometimes listen to. We have amazing patrons. Thank you all so much for your support. If you'd like to donate to help us pay for things like hosting fees and that date night dice Jeff's had his eye on, please head on over to patreon.com/The Gamecasters to help out. The Gamecasters Twitch account has relaunched, and we're live every Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday night streaming board game and video game content and having a blast talking to all of you. If you just simply can't get enough Gamecasters in your day, please consider heading on over to twitch.com/Gamecasters and give us a follow and a sub. I have the best time streaming for everyone, and it's just a super fun place to unwind after a long day and watch someone who is trash at games play games. Come hang out and engage with me in a way you never thought you had to before, but I'm sorry, you do.
You have to.
Twitch.tv/The Gamecasters. It's mandatory. Possibly the best way to interact with all of us, though, is via our Discord server. If you go to the Gamecasters Instagram page, you can check out our link tree in our bio to get access to our server. It's a great way to engage with all three of us on a daily basis, as well as meet a bunch of awesome, like-minded people. So check out our Discord server. I can understand people are like Amanda said this to me one time. She's like, I don't understand it.
Discord?
Yeah, like I don't know if I it's a little intimidating.
I get it.
And it was like that for me. I just talked about Amanda. Literally, the second I just
saw that pop up on your computer.
Oh, really?
Hey, Ryan, I have a question. Yeah, that's all. I'll read it later.
It's about Discord.
That's pretty funny. How do you?
If it's about Discord, this is amazing. Speaking of Amanda, while you look, Amanda, I recently put on my stories the inbox and just was like, hey, get caught up. We're recording this weekend. She's like, every time you post this, I think it's going to be episode 74. I'm like, well, I got to get people to listen to the other ones first.
Right, exactly. Yeah. But yeah, I would encourage you, go to the link tree on our Instagram page. Just jump in. It's really easy. It's really basically just like a messaging form.
Yeah, and if that doesn't work, just message one of us and we'll send you a link.
It's super easy to
it's just a big chat.
Yeah, it's just a giant chat. Yeah. There's just different chat rooms within this chat, and then
we talk about games all the time. We talk about
yeah. We have like a podcast forum, like a one for the Gateway. We have just a general chat where you can just talk about whatever the heck you want to. Again, one specific to the podcast. There's also voice channels. You can have phone calls with other people in the, and we do that. That's how we play games on Twitch and stuff. Well, it's now that time of the show where Jeff juggles and reads aloud all the things he asked you to provide in this episode's Instagram inbox. Did you guys know he juggles while doing this? He both of you. Yeah, I never mentioned that, but he does. It's super impressive. He just juggles.
I can only juggle 3 things. I can't juggle anything more.
But
I can. It only has to be. I can't like juggle like bowling pins.
It can't be chainsaws.
Or chainsaws.
Or like
cylindrical things like apples.
Fire.
Yeah, I can juggle. I can juggle that too.
Well, I could juggle them on fire. I would just end up being on fire. Yeah, like if those apples on fire, I would just be on fire.
You're a flame.
Yeah. I need to get ready.
And now it's time for the Instagram inbox with the Mad Board Gamer.
Well. It's me, the Mad Board Gamer, and this is the Instagram inbox.
He's so mad.
He's angry.
I wanted to know what your guilty pleasure was.
Yeah, me too.
Because I did. I don't really know
it'll
why.
probably be fun.
That's like something Scarlett says.
Yeah.
Like, why'd you do that? Because I did.
Because I did. Because. Yeah. Why'd you do that? Because
I wanted to. It's my show. I can do whatever I want.
Because I do.
So I thought about.
Because I do.
Do you guys?
That was an answer one time for me.
Do you guys have any guilty pleasures?
Probably. I used to. There was a show called The Vampire Diaries, and I watched it.
Yeah,
and I couldn't stop watching
it. By yourself, you were like, I was like,
this is really.
And you're like, I'm never telling anybody that I'm watching.
Yeah, I'm definitely not going to tell hundreds of potential listeners on a podcast someday. That was my guilty pleasures. I think mostly revolve around like TV shows that are probably skewed towards younger people. Because I also watched Riverdale.
Oh, okay. Yep, that's like the Archie comic.
The Archie comic.
Day.
I mean, mostly for the pretty ladies.
Yeah, for Lily Reinhart.
Lily Reinhart is and so Vampire Diaries was more guilty. I was more like I should not be watching
don't tell anybody this.
Yeah, this should not be something I watch.
Natalie, you got one? You still thinking of it?
Yeah, I don't know. It's probably there's probably like TV shows and stuff. I don't know if this is a guilty pleasure, but it's kind of embarrassing to me that I feel like if I like have the chance, I sleep in like I'm a teenager.
That's okay.
I wouldn't feel guilty about that. If you're in work.
I do feel guilty about it though, because remember that one time Frankie called and she woke me up and I'm just like, hello, and she was like, hey, blah 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 blah. She's like, what's wrong with you? And I was just like, nothing. And Ryan's like, she just woke up when she answered the phone. And I was like, didn't want to tell her.
Well, when people get up early, they get angry at people who sleep in.
Yeah, because like I can't.
It was like 11 or 11:30 or something.
That's great. I slept till 1 p.m. yesterday.
Yeah, you've been having trouble sleeping.
Yeah, sleep eludes me. So
man, I think a lot of mine revolve maybe around like TV shows. I watch a lot of like reality shows, which I'm not like I'm not shameful about or I don't feel.
But I think
guilt.
those are, you're right.
But
Those are
like,
like textbook guilty pleasures.
Yeah, it's like, so yeah, when I watch
substance.
like Big Brother constantly, or Survivor, or The Amazing Race, but also things like My 600-Pound Life and Hoarders and all those kind of stuff that. But you think of yourself like, well, I'm not the only one because those shows are still on.
Popular.
Absolutely.
That's what actually. Okay, I thought of one a long time ago. When
In a podcast far, far away.
when I was married before, I would watch like Keeping Up with the Kardashians, but I was so embarrassed that like every time like he would walk in the
Change
room,
it.
I would like change it to something else.
The previous channel button has always come in handy. That might be the best invention on a remote ever. So I asked people, what are your guilty pleasures? And I didn't like preface it and say like it needs to be board game related or anything like that. So I just said, tell me a little bit about yourself. So this is kind of cool learning about a lot of our
I'm
listeners, because
interested.
a lot of these answers are from listeners that we know personally and have talked to a lot about. So this is a fun one. So date night dice, guilty pleasure, making Ryan play Skull King. They must love it.
Yeah.
I heard that you just kept trying to go get snacks over and over again before
I
the
was
game
trying
started.
to do
or
literally
He was like,
anything I
anything
could
to get out of it.
to get out of it. Yeah, I was just like,
Yeah.
oh, you guys want some cheese? And they're like, we're so full. I'm like, oh, you need some cheese?
Oh, you need some.
Yeah, there's this picture where I'm pointing a knife
Yeah.
at Emily like, what do you want for food?
do you want?
I'll be here for a while.
Roberto, sheer boredom. Guilty pleasure. Watching The Devil Wears Prada while drinking enough to not finish it.
Okay, I like that movie.
That's a good movie.
I like that movie a lot.
I don't know if I've seen it like all the way. I think I've seen it piece by piece.
It's really
but
good,
We actually
man.
just watched it like a couple months
Good.
ago.
It's a good one.
Roberto's with you.
That's a good. I like it. It's got Stanley Tucci.
Stanley Tucci.
Stanley Tucci.
Stanley Tucci.
Emily Blunt's also
Meryl
in that.
Streep.
Okay.
Yep.
And
awesome.
is Anne Hathaway
Anne
the?
Hathaway is the main
Hathaway.
is the lead.
Yep.
It's also got Stanley Tucci.
That
Tucci.
guy from Entourage and the guy
Stanley
from
Tucci?
You
The
mean Stanley
Office
Tucci?
/ Mad Men.
Stanley.
Stanley Tucci.
The board game
He's got
guy.
Stanley Tucci and
Oh,
Stanley
you
Tucci.
mean the boy. Oh, right. Rich
Stanley
Summer
Tucci.
Yeah.
Son of Thunder Games, guilty pleasure is listening to the Gamecasters. Heyo.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
a
Nestor.
good one.
Throwing 80s movie references to high school kids who weren't born yet. That's amazing. I do stuff like that where you just
Wait,
say
that's
things.
a guilty pleasure, though?
Well, it's just like
What's he
you say
guilty
something
about?
to just purposely go over their head.
Yeah,
You know, just
okay.
for your own
Okay.
sort of ha ha ha.
Yeah, like it
Right.
makes you laugh.
Like if there were another adult in this room, they would find
they
that
would
funny.
get that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just like one thing because they're all together. There's
But do you
30
feel
friends in the
guilty
same
about
room.
that?
No, it's
Right,
just
or, like,
yeah.
It's funny, though. It's really funny.
That is really funny.
Yeah.
Ameritrash talk. I'm not sure which one answer, but reality TV, which
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I feel like reality, like when you said you watch a lot of reality TV, you're not like ashamed of it. But I feel like reality TV is like a textbook guilty pleasure.
because when we come on the show and we talk about banter and you're like, what show are you watching? I'm like, oh, I'm watching The White Lotus. I'm watching Nine Perfect Strangers. I'm not. Like, I've told you I've watched Big Brother, but like that, I'm obsessed with Big Brother.
You're like,
Yeah,
I'm like,
you
this is the
downplay
majority
how
of
much
my
you
time.
watch
like
it.
it's on 3 days a week. I watch it every day. And so Ameritrash talk mentioned specifically Total Bellas, which I don't know.
I haven't heard of that.
And then also romance novels. So I don't know if that's separate. If romance novels
Man.
is like that's got to
a
be
good
separate.
guilty pleasure
That's a
because
guilty
those
pleasure.
are
Yeah.
not good.
Those get,
Really?
I've read a couple and they're just trashy. Like
Do they
all
talk about
sex.
throbbing?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
It's what
It's
you
just-
would think it
it's
would
sex
be.
books.
And
Sounds
like the
kinda
story is just all the stories are the same. Just input a different person's name with a different
Yeah.
occupation and maybe a different.
Well, the
sex
one there's
position.
like
That
isn't
sounds
there
good
like
to
an
me. What's wrong
author?
with that? I want
I've seen those movies. I think isn't there one author that's like famous for this, and
Yeah.
she basically just like reproduces the
Yeah.
same book over and over again. Anyway, the McMeeples. I don't know if this is Sam or I think this is Sam because Michaela answered
Has
separately.
her own, yeah.
Spicy chicken sandwiches from Chick-fil-A.
What?
I don't know if that's a guilty pleasure, but it could be because Chick-fil-A is a shitty company.
Yeah.
I get that.
So maybe that's
Yeah,
it. You don't want to know.
We've
You don't want
just
people
really
to
just
know
done
you're.
So that was like the main reason we hadn't gone there.
They're a
until-
terrible company.
I was just like, I don't know. And then
Well,
we were
they're a
like,
terrible company.
we were like, we're hungry. Let's separate the art from the artist for a moment and go have the food. And
well, a lot of I do this with a lot of things. If people like really, if something's really popular and everyone loves it, and I've never like tried it or seen it or
Who cares if
whatever,
they're racist?
I have this
do.
thing where I'm like I don't want to be like everyone else, and I don't
Yeah.
want to do it.
Yeah.
So I kind of felt like
I get
that
it because you're
about-
not in.
Yeah,
You want to.
right. I'm like way far behind. I don't know what it's all about, and I don't want to be part of it now.
that's how I was
And
with sex.
That's how. That's how I was with
Oh, it's
Chick-fil-A.
dumb.
You
Yeah,
know,
who
like
thinks
everybody's like,
it's
"Oh,
stupid?
Chick-fil-A,
Everyone's
Chick-fil-A,"
doing
and
it.
like the lines are so long, and I'm like, "Pfft," like that's stupid. And then we try it, and I'm like, "Damn it!"
It was so
now I'm a Chick-fil-A lover.
I gotta try the
Yeah,
spicy
we don't
chicken
have
sandwich now.
We don't have a lot. There's a couple that have been the opening around us. So we also grew up without Chick-fil-A.
Yeah, we didn't
It
have
was
that.
never one of
That was not a thing we
our
had.
things.
Well, I went to Oakland University, and they had a Chick-fil-A in the
Go
food
Grizzlies.
court. And so, like, I remember, like, being like, what's the big deal? Like, I don't remember it being, like, fantastic back then. I think I tried it, and I was like, yeah, it's some chicken. Like, whatever.
College kids.
But I was, in college.
It is really good.
Janelle, emotional cyborg. She sent me an answer, and I'm not sure I know most of these words. So I'm just going to read them to you.
Sounds like
okay.
Typical
That
Janelle.
sounds like Janelle.
Janelle's guilty pleasure is crisps
Oh.
and purple turtle, where I get English chips and cheese toasties with a shake.
Purple. I'm writing this in Google.
just said
purple
Toasties the
turtle,
other
where
day.
I get English
chips and cheese toasties with a shake. I would like you all to understand that Janelle lives in the United States of America.
She lives in Utah.
Purple turtle is a restaurant.
Purple Turtle's a restaurant. Okay. English chips are
Our French
fries. Cheese toasties are grilled cheese.
Yes.
So if you're curious of what
shake is a
Janelle
shake.
actually means,
You should go look
And
on the
you do
menu
not
of
live in-
Purple Turtle and see if they actually call it crisps and toasties or if they call it grilled cheese and fries.
I can check out the menu right now.
yeah.
And Janelle,
Here
Yeah,
we
so she
go.
calls it. So cheese toasties are grilled cheese, which I've never heard.
I had
being
never
called a
heard that in my
cheese
entire
I've
life.
never
toasty.
heard that either.
I thought you had said that you did know
No.
that.
I'm-
So
no.
it was the three of us then. Because this happened on stream.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
no one said
It was
anything, and I
not
was like,
me.
Ryan, I have not.
Yeah,
heard
I was
either.
like, no, you guys know what this is? And yeah, I thought it was just me and you. That
Yeah,
didn't
I never heard of
like
cheese
toasties. No, it says right here.
Toasty.
Grilled cheese.
yeah.
The Purple Turtle Junior menus.
She just wants to confuse us. That's
Yeah,
what
she's
she's
just
like,
confusing us.
confusing
So she
us.
just put everything that she knew we didn't
It says
understand
right
into
here.
one sentence.
French fries.
French fries.
Purple Turtle side menu. French fries. It doesn't say
Does
chips,
she go to the
Janelle.
Purple Turtle and order crisps?
Can I have? Can I
Yeah,
have
I wonder
toasties?
what-
Can I have?
Did the
The
word?
waitress is like,
I need
excuse
chips
me?
and cheese toasties.
Yeah, did she
please.
sit there and order cheese toasties with chips and expect to get a grilled cheese with French fries?
Yeah, Janelle, tell us
She's
what
like,
that. Tell
oh,
us
I'm
that.
so sorry, I'm
you have
from
more to
London.
explain.
I said we're two away. We're
yeah.
losing Europe. That's
Yep,
one.
that's one. Ugh.
That was for Jim.
Can't do any more. Jim knew it. We're 2 hours in, and he knew it was coming sooner
Yeah.
or
So
later.
Janelle, let us know if you go to the Purple Cow. Is that what it's called? Purple Turtle.
Purple turtle.
Are you
Cow,
actually
that's
ordering?
ice
Are you
cream.
saying, "Hey, I want some.
I want a cheese
chips
toasty and
cheese
some
toasties."
crisps. All right. Thanks, Janelle. That was her only one answer. I thought I was going to get
Janelle
more.
might be the most entertaining person to talk to.
Yeah.
She's definitely
I thought
interesting
I was going to
talk
get more answers from her, but I only got one. So that was
Oh,
her
wow.
guilty pleasure.
And she's exceptionally good at drawing on Gardic phone.
Ooh, she one of the good ones.
Is she?
She's not good like the Bulbasaur guy, but I feel like
Who's that Bulbasaur guy?
compared to the rest of us,
He's
like,
got a
the
name,
people we
probably.
know, like she's way better than all of us.
His name is like.
Is that the?
It's like something 69. It's like his
something
name
dong.
on Twitch.
Oh, he's
Yeah,
been
it's like
very
Long
cool.
Dong
Yeah, he's
No,
been very
it's
cool on the stream and all this kind of
extra
stuff.
dong or-
Awesome, but yeah, it's like the name is like it's probably better to call him
Bulbasaur.
Bulbasaur guy.
All right, Bulbasaur. We'll call him Bulbasaur. So, Bad Board Game Covers he said, I can't believe I'm finally admitting this.
Yes.
It's board games.
Oh,
He's like,
damn it.
I have hundreds in my
You know what
house.
that reminds me of is Bored with Life.
Yeah.
The guy
plays-
who's closeted. He's a gay guy who's in the closet about playing board games.
Yes.
right. He's openly
Which is funny
gay,
because
but
that could be
he's-
a guilty pleasure for anybody not listening to this podcast, right? Who like play board games. Most of the world doesn't play board games, so
Yeah.
saying that could be
Yeah,
one.
that's.
I don't know
true.
if I would call that a guilty pleasure though.
But
I
it
feel
could
like
be
a
in the
guilty
right
pleasure
setting.
is something that if you tell people you do it, they'll make fun of you for it.
Right. In the
I
right
mean,
setting, it could be weird. Be like,
depends.
dude,
It
you
could-
spend
yeah.
thousands and thousands of dollars on board games? Like,
Like if you're in
Oh,
a
you
place
mean-
where like
you
no
mean-
one else plays board games and they're like, what are you doing? They're like, playing board games, and they're like, what? Nerd.
I always
Okay,
think
yeah,
a guilty
I-
pleasure
that
is something
side of
you
it,
don't
yeah,
want
I
to
see
be like
that.
judged
I mean, in
for.
our community, it's
Yeah.
not like that because we all play board games.
Yeah.
But
Bad Board Game Covers also said listening to Screamo.
Screamo.
what is Screamo?
I think it's like Screamo music. Is it like Screamo music,
is that
right? It's
music?
like, I think it's music where they just yell at you.
Screamo is an aggressive subgenre of emo
Yeah.
that emerged in the early 90s, emphasizing willfully experimental dissonance and dynamics that Phil Regaud should be very embarrassed about.
They just scream. I think there's just
Wait,
like
who said
emotional
this?
screaming at you.
Phil-
This is Bad Board Game Covers. This is the Haitian Sensation.
That's a pretty good one.
Phil
Jinx.
Regaud, right?
I can
Is
see that being.
Yeah, that would be
Guilty
one where you're like, all right, I'll
Screamo
listen to this in
is
my car.
Strongly
But like,
influenced
I don't
Put in my
want
headphones
people to know about
and
that.
Yeah.
characterized by the use of screamed vocals.
Yep.
Huh.
Mick loves book shopping. loves going to places, looking at books, and then buying books.
I think I
and
knew
he
that
also
about
said
him.
he's like, you would be, for how many games he hasn't played, he has more books that he hasn't read. And I think that's a normal thing of a collector. You go to a bookstore, you're like, this seems cool, and it ends up on a shelf, right?
Yeah, I might read this someday.
There's something about going to like a Barnes and Noble and just like walking around. And...
Again, I'm not going to call people out here, but I don't think a lot of these I would feel guilty about. Buying books is a guilty pleasure? You feel guilty about doing that?
I don't know.
I think books is a very
Maybe you don't want to be like judged
hobby.
for. I don't know.
Books?
Yeah.
Books
All right, how
for
about this one?
Christmas?
All right, let's hear it.
Board Game Snobs, this is Gabi.
Yes.
Gabi gave me 2 of them.
Yes.
He's like, I don't feel guilty, but ASMR is pleasing to my ears.
Okay, that I feel like is
get
a good
brain
example
tingles.
of
That's
guilty
kinda weird.
pleasure.
He says he gets brain
Yeah.
tingles.
I like that too. I showed Natalie once. I was like, watch this guy eat this honeycomb. Isn't it awesome? And she did, and she was like, what the fuck is this? What are you doing? I'm like, oh, it's
You're
great.
like, oh, never.
Yeah,
take
so I'm
it.
like,
do
I'll
you
never
like
talk about it
this?
ever
So
again.
you want to like drink something on your microphone
okay.
just to
Oh,
like
yeah.
give him a little bit of
that's
brain
true.
tingles?
Ryan would watch those things where like people like cut into stuff, and he was like, "Oh yeah," and I'm like, "Ew!"
You're like, oh.
You ruined my ASMR.
why do you watch this?
So Gabi also said he likes baking bread semi-nude.
Oh my god!
I said that show probably needs to be on Food Network. That is
that's
hilarious.
hilarious.
See,
Gabi
these
baking
are
bread
guilty
nude.
pleasures right
Yeah.
here. This is what I'm looking for.
Yeah, it's stuff that you're ashamed to.
Yeah, it's not like I play guitar. Like that's not a guilty
Being
pleasure.
Friends official, Evan said his guilty pleasure is feeling guilty. It's a beautiful cycle.
feeling guilty.
That's fine.
Our German buddy Thomas, right? Thomas
Osgore.
Yeah.
listening to a podcast called Gamecasters.
Yep, that's two.
Jim Gamers is my other 3 wives. Is his guilty pleasure.
Wait, is that a show or is he like?
No, that's like
I think that's him making a joke about having
making
other
a joke,
women.
yeah,
That's
other women.
great.
That's
Kelly, the
funny.
Geek Chic Gamer.
That's great.
Her guilty pleasure. This is another good one. Eating cookies in the car so my kids don't see it.
Yeah, I was gonna say food seems like another one.
Another good
like people
guilty
would
pleasure.
hide, like late night snacking. Like, don't tell anybody I ate this after we went to bed, kind of thing.
Right.
Yeah, I always
Can you
think of
imagine
like
her
food.
kid like, what you doing?
Yeah, on the window.
What are you doing
Oh,
here?
yeah.
Chips Ahoy. Those are
yeah.
mine.
Your kids did that. Remember that one time they like went to bed and we like ate ice cream.
Oh, my gosh.
And then we left the bowls on the table and
they
they come
knew.
down and Cameron's like, I know what you guys
Little
did.
detective.
I know what you did.
I know.
I know what
Son of a
happened.
bitch.
I saw the bowls on the table.
That was Nenen's ice cream.
Like he caught us. Like,
Yeah, and you were like,
Yeah, but we were like, oh shit.
yeah, you got caught. It hasn't
By the
happened yet.
9-year-old. I know what you did.
Yeah.
Oh, it was like a
know.
long time ago. He was probably like 6 or 7 or something.
Plurpy first answered, none. Who has the time? And then he said, oh, wait, never mind. It's candy. He said, I was thinking about movies and TV first, but he says it's candy.
Yeah, he's got like candy wrappers probably stuffed everywhere so people don't see.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Michaela from the McMeeples says hers, which is more popular than you might think, popping pimples is her guilty pleasure, especially when it's someone else's.
Oh, that's my sister.
There are a lot of people who like that.
You're
She
right.
is not alone in that. There's a
I mean,
show.
I think it's still like good. It should still that's a perfect example. You should feel guilty about that. You
That's
feel
a-
a little bit guilty
So,
about that pleasure.
We also had a little conversation. She said she was going to say how she obsesses over people's veins. 'Cause she's a nurse.
Yeah, she's a nurse.
And that she's like, I don't think that people would understand that. I'm like, so do you like walk around and go like,
Yeah, what does that mean?
damn,
Like,
they got
that'd be
some
a good,
good
easy
veins.
vein
Look at
to-
those veins.
She says she like
Yeah.
checks out people's veins at the grocery store. And we're like, look and see if they have. She's like, and then she said, it's a nurse's thing, and my friends talk about it. She said, nothing better than getting a patient with pipes for veins.
It's just easier to like get blood out of.
Yeah.
We might have to, Sam. You need to run away.
Sam, you need to.
A few episodes we said marry her.
You need to
If your
this.
veins are not pipe-like, she's going to.
I bet he's got. I
kill
bet
you.
Sam's got pipes.
He's got pipes for veins.
I bet he's
Yeah.
got.
I think what
pipes.
we're learning right now is that is what Michaela is attracted to in Sam.
Yeah.
Maybe
Sam's
he's
like,
just
man, I
like-
thought my personality and
maybe he
face
just,
were
like-
sparkling, but
Yeah. No.
it's my veins
Yeah.
and my
God, it's
zits.
veins, everyone.
I got all these back
Yeah.
knee, and Michaela loves me
Yep.
for
He
my
like
back
pops
knee
his
and my
veins, and she's like, "Oh, let's go to the bathroom."
bleed on me.
Yeah. I got 2 more. Ben Derek 13 says his guilty pleasure is Ryan James with a bunch of kissy
Hey.
faces. And to wrap this up, homemade soda. Sent me
Wait,
messages.
is that the guilty pleasure?
No. That's the username. We know homemade soda.
Yeah, this is a joke.
Lives in Michigan.
Oh yeah, right.
So homemade soda sent me a message and said, sorry I was drinking. I responded to your message, or to your question. He said, I listened to board game. Yeah, no, this is it. I listened to board game podcasts.
Okay.
While masturbating. Hey! And that's the inbox.
Guilty pleasure. Those were fantastic. Thank you. Some of them were, I didn't think personally were very guilty, other than Michaela. Michaela, you should
It's
feel
all about
massive
people's
amounts of
own
shame and guilt for that.
feelings.
That's a
you know?
joke, by the way. Michaela,
Yeah.
we love you. It's a joke.
Yeah.
It is gross though.
It's gross, but it's awesome.
I know
You're not
other people
alone.
like that. My sister likes that. There's like videos on YouTube of people like
There's
popping-
an
popping
entire show
pimples.
called Dr. Pimple Popper.
Yeah.
She's like has
Oh,
million.
right,
Yeah,
yeah,
you can go on there.
It's
She
great.
does a lot of
I mean,
stuff with like.
I think
other
it's the same.
cysts
It's a
and
similar
things.
thing. Like that provides probably like an ASMR type
Yeah.
experience for her.
I
Yeah.
get it. I get it. I don't get it.
She gets it. She gets it too.
gets it.
Natalie gets it.
People.
I don't get it on other people, but like on myself, like if you like pop a zit and like
Stop. Let's move on. Gross. Fucking
and it,
gross.
like,
That was
I think you might like
it
popping it on other
feels
people.
satisfying because you're
No.
like good.
I think you
taken
might like
care
popping
of.
on other people now. You're
No,
talking.
because like you
you're
could
talking it
potentially
through.
scar. It could scar.
I have like a weird thing that I've just been realizing lately that like I can't.
Too late for me.
Yep.
I almost feel like it's almost like a. I don't even know. It's not like a tick or like a.
It's like a murderous feeling.
It's more like I
just wanna get a little stabby.
I'm
a little stabby
It's like an obsession.
lately.
But it's like if like there's any like I don't know, you might have noticed me like
Say it.
if we're sitting on the couch and I'll be like feeling like my arm or like my face, and if I feel something that's not like smooth, I can't help like picking at it or like
You're a picker.
and
No,
I'm just like
that's
I have to
normal.
be like stop.
My dad was
I'm
like
not
that.
surprised
He would
that
do that
wasn't on there.
until he-
People
he would
pick
do
their
that until he
nails.
bleed.
People
Yeah,
pick
pick my
things.
nail or
Yep.
pick on my arm, like
Yep.
whatever. And
People are
My dad would do that
pickers.
until his legs bleed.
This is
Yeah.
a
He'd
be
board
like
gaming
picking stuff.
podcast.
He'd be like,
About board.
Oh my gosh, crazy. That's right. Another association train has
back.
pulled into the station. And so without further ado, are you all ready to hear what I've got in today's association station?
Ryan had some time to script. That's what this means.
Yeah, I had a little more time.
exactly.
If you've never heard of the Association Station, what we do is I come up with 10 games and provide clues to Jeff and Natalie, trying to get them to associate what I've said in some way with a game. Now it's my crazy brain, so it
yeah.
doesn't always work, but when it does, it's usually a blast. Jeff, if I say period anger, what game do you think I might be talking about?
Blood Rage.
Yes, Blood Rage, and away we go.
Yay.
Are you guys ready for this? Here we are with a special Gencon edition of the
Whoa.
Association Station.
Hold on, Natalie
This
needs to
year's
measure.
Gencon?
That's the only clue you will get.
Natalie needs to measure how far this is away from.
Hold
on.
Okay, you're sorry, Natalie. You ringed in. What's number one?
Everything clear out. The mimosas have been moved. We are.
Is the bell skewed towards Natalie?
no, it's fine.
You just let me know. Okay, I'm just here.
Jeff's here. We're here for you, Natalie.
Okay,
So
it's
what's
good.
you rung in twice now? What's the answer to number
She's
one?
probably gonna get it right. Don't let her
It
do
is.
that.
I don't want to say because it might be one of the answers you have.
True. Number one. We ready?
Mm-hmm.
Here we go. Moon City. Jeff.
Luna Capital. Yes, Natalie let me get that one.
No, I didn't.
She looked at me.
All right.
I'm more impressive than
Thought
you
of it
think.
way faster than you.
So now you understand how the game works. Number two. The taste is gonna move ya. Natalie.
Juicy fruit.
Oh, Juicy Fruits. Very good.
What the hell is that?
Juicy fruit is
Is that a
gum.
commercial?
That's the
Well, I
Juicy
get
Fruit gum
that.
commercial, yeah.
That's what the thing is?
Yeah. The juicy fruit is gonna move ya. It tastes so good, it'll go right through you like
No,
juicy
stop.
The taste is gonna move ya.
So that's the song in a commercial?
Yeah.
Well, that's
That was like
Double
the-
Mint. No, Double Mint gum? That's different.
Well, it was old.
Double
I'll say
the
that.
fun.
This was old. This
Blah,
was
blah,
back in
blah,
the
blah.
90s, maybe. But that's the only
I
thing I
remember the
associate
90s.
with Juicy Fruit is that song.
Okay.
Okay.
Natalie, question. I'm going to listen back. Did you say Juicy Fruit or Juicy Fruits?
Fruits.
She looked at me in the eyes and said, like, you asked her, and then she looked at me and said, fruits. Like the judge,
Juicy
you know?
fruit
Like,
is the gum.
I
Juicy
think I have called that game
fruits.
Juicy Fruit a couple times just
Yeah.
because it's that.
Yeah.
I can make a game
very
called
similar.
Fruit Stripes.
yeah. Fruit
It only lasts like 3 minutes.
That's a great joke.
That's to be a good one.
That's a
Come on, you
good
never had Fruit
joke.
Stripes before?
Fruit Stripes
wait,
gum, you chew it like
yes,
one time, the
yes.
flavor's
Yeah,
gone.
it's gone.
Okay, yeah. I have. I've had
Zing.
In her head, this all happened
Does it
simultaneously.
have like a zebra?
Yeah, it's
Okay, yeah,
Fruit
yeah.
Stripes.
That's good. All right, number three. Similar farts.
Similar
Similar
fart?
or fart?
No, similar farts. Jeff.
It's Tutankhamun.
Oh my god.
Because 2 is the fart, and then we have similar ones because it's in common. You should have got the fart one.
Common.
Number four.
That's pretty good.
That's pretty good.
gotta hand it to you.
Yeah, okay, that's fine.
Typically, she's like, whatever.
Well, yeah.
Oh, that's dumb.
Yeah, I get it. Move on.
I get it. Okay. Thank you, babe.
You're welcome.
Number 4. What I think about Natalie's looks.
It better be a good one.
I know.
What if it's like a terrible name?
This is the game Horrified.
Yeah. What if it's horrified? It's horrifying.
What I think about Natalie's looks. Jeff.
10.
10.
Oh,
You're a 10.
10.
I forgot about that.
You're
game.
a 10, girl.
Thank you.
You're a 10.
Out of 10.
She's more angry than happy.
Yeah,
She's
'cause
not.
I got it
she's
right.
not like, oh, that's.
She's not taking the compliment.
Damn it, Jeff just got 2 in a fucking row.
That's beating
I would
me.
give you a half a point for horrified because that was really funny.
That was.
I just
funny.
was like, what does he think about me? I was like,
Horrified. Oh no. Oh god, it's horrified.
Natalie's looks.
Horrified.
American
so
monster.
funny. Yeah.
Number 5, Young Seed.
Ooh, Natalie got really ready on this one. The moment you said number 5, her arm went from down to up on the table.
I gotta get ready for this. I
didn't hear what you said. What was
oh,
the
sorry.
clue?
Young Seed. Was that a ring?
yeah,
Okay, Natalie.
old tree.
Yeah, old tree.
I was like,
tree.
it's old something.
Yeah.
I can't remember.
It's old. All right, number 6.
Uh-oh. Here we go.
Natalie's butt.
Ryan would say things probably about farting. He also likes your butt. He thinks that's one of your best qualities. He thinks
best
it's a
quality.
10 out of 10.
Yeah, back bottom. So maybe your best quadrant.
Yeah. Back bottom.
At least it's not the tootin' one.
God. Yeah, it could be.
Natalie's butt.
Natalie's butt. What if, like, did you buy a game called, like, Supple? Or
Supple booty.
Supple booty. Or, like, what if you just called it Juicy Fruits? But it's probably not.
Yeah, that one's already
Taste
taken.
the taste is gonna move ya.
Natalie's booty.
Okay, we can move on.
But
Natalie's butt is number 6. Number 7.
Nat butt.
Here we go. Number 7. Island Ocean Fight. Just got it, Jeff.
Lambercy?
Lambercy.
That was, like, pathetic.
You're like, tick, tick, tick.
Is it working?
Number 8.
You thinking of your butt?
I am always thinking about your butt.
Thank you.
Natalie's butt. Number 8. Shitty game about yarn.
Art Travel.
Yeah.
Oh, how'd you get that one? Oh man, what'd you guys really think
That
of
was the
Art
least clever
Travels?
clue you've ever had.
That was on purpose. I mean, it was supposed to make you laugh. It worked. Number 9. Oh my God, I have to leave so bad. Don't you, or do you have to go?
You have to what?
What'd you say?
What does he have to do? He's got a what so bad?
Hand
He's
was
hovering.
about to hit the
I know,
bell.
she knew.
And then right before, she's like, "Wait, what did you say?"
I don't know that one word you said.
I know. I have to. I didn't hear it either.
I have to
Okay, I'll try again. Right?
Okay.
Oh my God, I have to leave so bad. Don't you, or do you have to go?
Lee? Is he saying the word Lee?
Loop? The loop?
Yeah, the loop.
Oh, because Lee, like pee and poop. I get it now.
Oh,
So
it's
it's
like
Lee
pee and
instead of pee and loop instead of poop.
I thought you said leave, but then I'm like, wait, maybe I misheard him.
What
and I don't
were
want
you
to get
gonna
it
ring
wrong.
in with?
The loop, but I was like,
Okay.
maybe he said leave, and that doesn't really make sense.
I got to loop the poop.
Oh my gosh, that's
I
funny.
get it, Lee and pee.
What's our score?
4-4. And the only thing that's on the board is Nellie's butt.
Oh, God.
Number 10, Suicide Country.
Suicide Country. Death.
You have to ring it. All right, Natalie.
Cutterland.
Cutterland.
Oh, that
Correct.
makes sense.
Cutterland. All right, so we have Natalie's butt. If Jeff can get Natalie's butt,
There's a
If I get Natalie's butt,
I'll take pictures.
we get a tie.
Yes, you'll tie it.
And it's just Natalie's butt.
Natalie's butt.
What else was that? Gen Con?
Natalie.
Is it picture perfect?
No.
Oh, that's
That's a good. That's
answer.
good. Oh, so now you're. The
Now I
only
can
one
think
that-
about
yeah,
it for
now
a
you can think
while.
about it. Okay, let's
Yeah.
move on. Okay,
Natalie's butt.
so we're
It
gonna
should
move
have
on.
been that, just FYI.
Yeah, that would have been nice.
Wow. He already called you a 10, and now
Yeah, I
you're
called you a 10,
demanding.
and she did not care.
Yeah.
You were like, "Oh, you're a 10."
I
And he
got
was
it.
just like, "Nice."
Yeah. Okay, great.
It's 2 in a row for Jeff. So we are going to end the show here with our top 5 games that take a long time. We're talking, I mean, we're not like war gamers, okay? So there's like games like Advanced Squad Leader that maybe take like multiple days, like that many hours of, time to complete. We're not talking about that. We are, what? You're going to say something? Mm-mm. Oh, you had your mouth open, looking at me in the eyeballs. Okay.
I'm going to ding in about Natalie's butt.
Oh, Jeff.
Okay. Trying to lead the path of...
Oh, no.
So Ryan has started... The one couple before was boosting up your confidence. I think this one is taking it down.
What is it?
I think it might be like your butt being a very hot place. And your butt is furnace.
Is it furnace?
Ding.
Yay, furnace!
You can come up with anything better than that.
He built you up to knock you down.
I called your looks a 10.
You just got a furnace butt.
Furnace butt. You have a furnace butt.
No, you do.
You do.
I'm rubber, you're glue.
You guys tied for the first time in forever.
Wow, yeah.
Like that's great. Congratulations. Jeff got Moon City as Luna Capital before I even finished the word, which is great. Natalie got Juicy Fruits almost as similar as quickly. Jeff got Tutankhamun.
I got a little fart one.
Okay, let's move on. Okay, so these are the top 5 games that take a long time to play. But we're not talking about those super long games that are war games. We're talking more like, Euro-style games is mostly what we play, or Ameritrash games even that, more than 2.5 hours probably. Less than that is not like super long. You know what I mean?
I know.
I don't know that many games that take 2.5 hours, do I?
Are you creating your list on the fly?
I have a list. I'm not feeling very confident about it.
Well, if you say something like Codenames Duet,
so
I might
here's.
call shit on that.
Do I get to start?
We'll go
bad.
Jeff, Natalie, me.
Okay, here's why I think this list was tough to make. Because you can go on Board Game Geek and you can search through your game list. You can search through all the game lists. Most boxes don't advertise that the game takes 2.5+ hours.
Yeah, I feel like you have to look at the box and be like, okay, I remember this. This took for fucking ever.
Yeah, because some games are like, oh, it says an hour to 2. And you're like, no, it doesn't.
Yeah.
Right? Like, we played Euphoria, and on the box says 60 minutes.
Yeah.
I was like, that's bullshit.
Yeah, that's
that game takes 2 hours. Just tell me it takes 2 hours. It doesn't bother me. Mm-hmm. But I don't like that. So if you went on and searched like 2.5 hours, you might not get every game that is taking really long. So you do have to like look.
It's got to be a marketing strategy. It's got to be like people tend to want to purchase things that are quicker for
it's for sure. And it's like, on your 10th play, it'll take an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say a heavy game, long game, number 5 is Dominant Species.
Ooh, yeah.
That game is heavy.
I have not played it.
It's a good one.
Which is crazy because Bill's had that for as long as we've been playing games. And
they released a newer version, the Marine one, so you can be a bunch of sea creatures instead of land creatures. I've played with the mosquitoes, and I've played with some other. Maybe it's just the insects, but whatever. You can play with a different species, and there's some area control to it, and it's a long game, but it's good. You're thinking the whole time. It doesn't feel like it's dragging. It's just a heavy, long. It's definitely above 2 hours. I think it's probably short of 3. Most of the time, depending on who you're playing with, but I think it's in that 2.5 hours. Were you the one
telling me recently also that mosquitoes are being like genetically removed?
I think there's a real push that they're trying to just kill them.
That's the best idea anyone's ever had.
Because I think that there's been decades and decades of studies showing that they do not provide anything to any ecosystem.
Okay.
That removing them would not cause any disturbance.
Interesting.
That any animal that eats mosquitoes
can get more sustenance elsewhere.
Yes, like it's not even a big fraction of their diet. They don't. It's not like they pollinate anything. Like if bees were gone, that's a huge thing, right? But I think that it'd be cool in our lifetime if they were just gone.
It'd be interesting.
So I don't know how they're going to do it. You send
Can you
out.
imagine not having another mosquito bite ever again on the bottom of the arch of your foot or on your eyelid?
Great.
Yes. Anywhere on your face.
FU mosquitoes.
Fuck mosquitoes.
Dominant Species number 5.
Nice. Very good. Natalie, what's your number 5?
Okay. My number 5.
As I'm writing it right now.
No, I have 5 and 4 written down.
Oh my god.
Oh man, we might need to pause. We'll be right back.
My number 5. I took a slightly different approach with some of these.
I went short.
Yeah.
No.
Twister.
Instead of it being like 2 hours or more in one sitting, I just had the total gameplay. So my number 5 is Clank Legacy.
Oh, I
It
see.
takes many hours to complete that entire
good one
campaign or whatever.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah.
That's your number 5.
Yes, it is.
Better work on your number 3, 2, and 1 while we're talking next.
I want to play the Clank Legacy.
It's good.
We have like legacy games going. Joe keeps buying legacy games that we start.
Yeah.
And I feel like I always want to play them, and then they never get played.
Yeah.
But it's the problem of legacy games.
Well, yeah, it's also tough when your game choice in the group that you're in with Bill and them. You only get to pick once like a month.
Yeah, it's like once a month because there's 4
do I
of
want
us.
to
So
only
each pick
play this
once a
legacy
week,
game at game night?
Mm-hmm.
I could see how that could be a little problematic. Now, number 5 for me is a game we recently played in the last couple of weeks to months. I really enjoyed it. I kind of wanted to play it solo. I've heard the solo game is really awesome, but it took us multiple days to get through. It's hours and hours long, and this game is Space Corp.
Space.
I completely forgot we played that game.
That's honestly, when you said this list, I was like, one of you is going to say that because that was a big, because the eras, right?
At Space Corp, and I was like, oh, we haven't played that yet.
God damn it.
We haven't played that one.
God damn it.
Natalie forgets.
Reviewed the damn game.
Yeah, like 2 episodes ago.
2 episodes.
It's like a month ago.
So that game is incredibly long. You play...
yes, it was. That's the one with the 3 different phases.
That's the one.
That's right. Okay.
Three different phases.
I remember. It was
Another Ascension.
Oh my god. So number 5 for me, Space Corp. What are the years on it?
2025 to 2300 AD.
Next time you should play it is in 2025.
Okay.
So wait a little
Good idea.
bit.
Wait a few years.
Wait
Wait a few years. Did this all happen yet? Jeff, what is your number 4?
My number 4 is a game I recently played again for the second time, which is one of Ryan's favorite games, but a different edition. The game Gaia Project is a long game. With 4 people, it's a long game.
Sure.
It takes us pretty much all of game night. We start at 7, we end at 10. You know, there's a half an hour of goofing around or just refreshing the rules, but it is definitely a 2+ hour game. When you get to the end and every turn matters and you're trying to crunch those final numbers and crunch those final turns, it gets long.
Yeah.
But it doesn't feel epically long because while I'm trying to take my long turn, everybody else is trying to figure out
what
their
am I
long
gonna
turn,
do?
right? So it's heavy enough where it keeps everybody involved. And it's one of the few games that we play on game night that we only get through that one. A lot of times we play a 2-hour game, then we got a half hour and we play something else. But that one, I think Terra Mystica you can definitely get through in 2.
Yeah, with the addition of the tracks in Gaia Project, it definitely increases the
because it adds an extra
girth.
it adds some girth to it.
The bulbousness.
You want some
goes
Bulbious
up. Veiny,
Maximus.
Kinda
Yeah.
pipe vein.
Bulbasaur. Yeah, you want some Bulbasaur.
You want
in
those
that
pipe
game.
veins.
Yeah.
And the Bulbasaur.
Yeah, so that's my number 4 Gaia Project.
Very good.
Long
Very
game.
good. Love that game. Natalie, what is number 4 for you? You have it written down.
I know. I just don't like my list.
Twister.
I know. I was just thinking about Twister. I was like, I wish I could come up with something like that, but I can't.
Okay, so what do you got for us?
So I got Mechs vs. Minions.
You're just coming up with campaign
Those
games.
are the only 2.
It takes like an hour to play.
No, they take 10 hours to play.
Okay, yeah, okay.
Boom. In
Boom.
Your face.
You
Your
faced
face,
me. You just
dummy.
faced me. What an idiot I am. I'll allow it. I mean, who gives a shit? Well,
If you sat down, just, played it over and over.
Played it over and over. It's going to take you that
Played
long.
Happy Salmon for 2 hours straight. It's a long game. It's a long ass Happy Salmon. One time I played all the Azules back to back to back.
Up, both of you. What do you have,
Number
Ryan?
4 for me is a game that I love. I love this fucking game so much. I feel like we literally never finish it when we play it because it takes forever. It takes a long ass time, but it's so much fun. But we never finish it, and it bums me out.
What
It's
is it?
Forgotten Waters.
Oh,
yeah, good
We
one.
played it
Does take a long
at the
time.
Mini Nerd Fest, and we didn't finish it, and I'm so bummed because we never will. All that stuff that we did is just that's not going to get played
Not
again.
with
It's just
that
not going to
attitude.
get played. It's just
We have Nerd Fest
that
right
happens
around the
every
corner.
time. Yes, we do. But yeah, it happens every time I play it. It's so much fun, but it's very, very long.
Mm-hmm.
It takes a long time to get through.
Maybe we can play it at Joe's Extra Life 24-hour fundraiser.
You can play it for 24 hours.
But it happens.
What?
It's a long game.
All right, Jeff, what's your number 3?
My number 3
I
is
have
called
it.
This War of Mine.
Ooh, yeah.
And this War of Mine is something that could take a very short period of time, depending how fast you die.
Okay.
But getting through the entire game and winning and being successful takes between 2 and 3 hours.
Yeah.
And It's a very immersive game, which I like, because if I'm going to be at a table for 3 hours and not, necessarily be like crunching turns like a Gaia project or something deeper, I like being immersed in this story that's being told, whether it's the most depressing story because you're trying to survive a civil war in a country, right? And you live in this broken down house.
You're just a random civilian?
Yeah, you're a random civilian. So it's like the war's happening around you and you're just trying to survive. And you uncover these cards in the house and you build stuff and you can go out at night and go to these different places. It was based on a Steam game, a video game.
Yeah, which you played, right?
Which I played a bunch of and I was super pumped. I think it's an Awakened Realms game.
It is.
I don't want to say it's their first one, but it was early on.
It's if it's not their first, it's one of their first.
And the production's through the roof. And it's something that you can really, for 3 hours, just kind of like you can get into, whether you win or lose. And it's playing the video game, it was hard to win. Playing the board game is also hard to win. Dave and I many times have played it, started it, taken pictures, done our save points, and then come back to it. So
I think
it's my number 3. Is there first?
I think.
Number 3.
I guess I don't know. Natalie, what is your number 3?
My number 3 is a game we've played together called Detective.
Yay,
Yeah,
Detective.
that's a
That
great
one
one.
takes that would be like a whole night for
Yes,
us
that
when we
does
would
take a
play that
long
game.
time. That's a good.
But not
that's a
in
good
like
one.
a typical board
Son of a
game way. It
bee.
just took us a long time to get through all the evidence and solve the case.
Yeah, no, that's a great one.
Thanks.
Crack that case.
Yeah, I gotta crack that case. No, that was a fun game, but you're right. It definitely took. It takes a long time to play.
Yeah,
it takes a while.
Yeah,
awesome. Number 3 for me is I guess maybe sort of a cop out, but I don't give a shite because Natalie put some next for his mini.
That was
I'm gonna
okay.
Okay, it's Vital Lacerda.
The Vital Lacerda.
Yeah, the Vital Lacerda.
All of his.
Yeah, every one of them. Every Vital Lacerda game I've played takes like 3 hours.
No.
Just keep it on.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
They all take like 3 hours to play. I mean, they're like really long games, and they're incredible. They're very different than any other game designer's games. Incredibly long, incredibly girthous, incredibly pipe veiny.
Yep, bulbousy.
Yeah,
Bulbous.
They're very bulbous. They're very pimply. You gotta pop those suckers. No, you don't want to do that. Okay, that's my number 3. Vital Lacerda. It's Vital Lacerda. I've heard so many people pronounce his name incorrectly.
Vital Lacerda? That's how they say it?
Well, that's a little
much,
ridiculous, but it's Vital Lacerda, I think.
Yep.
I think.
We'll call him. Hey, why don't you tell me your name?
How do you pronounce your name?
Hey,
okay, goodbye.
This is Jeff Mang from the Gamecasters.
Gamecasters.
Why don't you tell me what your name is? Oh, Vital Lacerda?
My name is Vital Lacerda. Shit.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you. All right, Rongerbringer.
All right, Jeff.
Well, my numbers 2 and 1 have now been taken. So
No, do them anyway.
no.
Go
man.
specific.
I was going to say On Mars was my number 2.
I had that as in this
Yeah, that was
Vital
gonna be-
Lacerda.
Yeah, I think
spot.
it needs.
But I was like, I could have easily put
It needs to be
Lisboa, the
said
Gallerist,
anyway on its
CO2.
own.
Yeah, so I guess my number 2 is On Mars.
On the
There's
Mars.
the spaceman on the cover. It's
I think your number 2 would be Vital Lacerda, but you've only played 2 of them. Well, technically 3. You did play
Vino, CO2
yeah, a long
and
time ago.
On Mars.
Right. Yeah, On Mars is... Oh, God, that's great.
Great.
Yeah.
On Mars
Very
is
long,
so good.
but very great.
It is very long and great.
Yeah, so I'll just stick to that. My number 2.
I love it.
Sorry,
Natalie,
I
what's
changed
your
my
number
number
2?
1 out.
My number 2 is Caverna / other Uwe games like that.
Oh, you're
Such
going
as
the cop
Fields
out
of
that Uwe
Arl.
Rosenberg. Fields of Arl. Yeah, did that take
Maybe that's not.
like 3 hours? I don't think so.
3 hours?
Or 2.5
I don't even know if I played any games that take 3 hours besides On Mars.
What about Lisboa? It was an hour and a half just for the rules.
I try to forget about that.
I try to forget about
You played Monikers for 2 hours
We
straight one
played
time.
Space Corp
Yeah.
just like 2 weeks ago. It was like 5 hours.
I just forget all these things.
Well, you took that.
Forgotten Waters takes so long. I played any.
No.
I think we played Anachrony. It took like
You don't
3.5
think
hours.
Caverna takes like 2 hours?
It takes like 2 hours.
Okay, then that's my answer.
So shut the fuck up. What's your number 2? You stupid idiot. Okay?
2 hours is not okay. That's fine.
That's long.
That's long. All right. Number 2 for me is a game that if you play it with like 4 people, it has the potential of being quick, but this also has the potential of being one of the longest games ever. And it's Cosmic Encounter. We've had games of this where we literally have had to be like,
Yeah.
I'm done. We're going to go home. I don't care.
It's 3 in the morning.
It's time to stop this
because we all know that we just like jockey back and forth and go, well, I'm not making a deal with you. You're about to win.
It's one of my favorite games of all time, which is funny because one of my most hated games of all time is a game called Munchkin. And this Cosmic Encounter has a similar mechanism to Munchkin where it's like, bash the leader. Like, okay, Jeff's at 4 colonies. We can't let him get to 5.
Everyone go on defense.
Everyone just do whatever they can do against him, and he would have to win despite us.
Yeah.
And so it can take forever, but it's really fun.
With the right group, it's amazing.
Yeah, if you have the right group and the right number of people. If you play with more than 5 or 6, the game's gonna take for fucking ever.
Yeah.
Even with 5 or 6, it's probably going to take 2.5, 3.5 hours. It's going to be a while, but that's my number 2, Cosmic Encounter. Jeff, what about you? Number 1?
My number 1 for sure would have been Detective. Because even on the box, that's a game that says 2 to 3 hours per scenario. But if you get yourselves involved in that game, it's a long game. It takes a day. Like we would... you guys remember this? We would spend a day, right? Mm-hmm. We'd hang out at lunch. We'd go to an escape room. We'd come back at 3 o'clock, and then we would spend 5 to 7 hours on the case with gigantic whiteboards and stuff like that.
Cool.
It's so cool. So there's some games that game. That's why that's my favorite of.
We did here too.
That's why that's my favorite of that genre is because of how immersed I feel in that game.
Yeah.
And versus like we played that Hunt a Killer at the house, which was probably an hour and a half. Maybe by yourselves, it takes a lot longer to do that, but we had like 6 people doing it.
Right.
So there are games in that genre that feel just as cool. Yeah. There's some of those new ones that just come with like an envelope of crap and you sort through it. Right. But for some reason, that one with the DNA system and the computer,
it's like the most feels like you're an actual detective.
Yeah, and you can just feel, and like Ryan reading the stories and like it's just. It feels good.
It does.
It feels good to play that game. That would be my number 1. I'll highlight another game that Devin and I personally can get through in 2 hours. With more people, it is exponentially longer. Trismegistus is a long game.
Okay.
The 2 of us can play in 2 hours. 90 minutes to 2 hours. But with more, that time does not ever tick back. There's no like, there's less dice or less turns.
You're just adding more time.
You just add more people to do the exact same amount of stuff. So that game is definitely a 2.5 hour game if you know what you're doing with 4 people.
Wow.
And then could be longer. But it's one of my favorites just with 2 because it's a little shorter. But when you add that extra person, man, can get long.
Damn.
And girthy.
And bulbousy. And
hard.
And pipe veiny. All right. Nigiglius Giganglio, what is your number 1? What game did you select for your final game
selection? Allow myself to introduce.
Well, one person already said Vital Lacerda, and one person already said On Mars, so I'm going to go with CO2.
Oh, good choice. I can tell it was your first choice.
Yeah.
Well, I put On Mars / CO2.
CO2, great game.
Great game.
If you don't like cooperative games, because maybe you feel like they're too cooperative-y, I think this is a good game for you because it's very heavy.
Yeah.
And it's not as easy for one person to be like, well, you should do this, and then you do that.
No, you definitely have to do your own
You have your own goals.
But still have like a common goal.
And it's heavy enough. It's heavy enough where most people are not going to be able to, like, as Ryan would say, like, grok the whole game and be that alpha gamer.
There's not a lot of cooperative games that are kind of like a Euro feel. They're usually like fighting monsters and stuff like that.
Which is why this one and Gloomhaven with the card play does really well, because it attracts more
Eurocentric focused peoples.
Yeah, baby.
Which is interesting because I think a lot of people that are into Euro games typically don't want anything cooperative.
Yeah.
A lot of people like that.
That's the cool thing about this is like it is cooperative, but it doesn't really feel like it.
Yeah.
But the cooperative part like makes it cooler too.
So awesome. I love that game. Awesome. Number 1 for me is a game that Natalie and I are about to play with our friends Kelly and Justin, the Geek Sheet Gamer and the Bearded Gamer.
The Bearded Gamer.
Yep.
It's Too Many Boners. By Chip Theory Games. Too Many Boners is a game that it's one of my favorite games of all time. And it definitely takes a long time to play no matter how many players you're playing it with.
Yep.
Each player or each character that you play is so vastly different from each other character that you kind of have to like, you're referencing that reference sheet for your character a lot because you're like, what does this guy do? I just played this other character who was like concentrating on like, just like melee damage, but this one kind of stays in the background, lobs arrows and, can do these other like sneaky attacks. and it just takes a long time.
Yeah.
Those damn
And it's awesome.
sneaky attacks.
But I do
excited to
love
play
it.
it.
Yeah, I cannot wait to play that as well. That is too many bones. You guys have any honorable mentions you want? I only came up with 5, and then I just like stopped. I was
Natalie,
like 5 of these.
Natalie I'm surprised neither of you said Twilight Struggle. I know you played that and you knew that was
I had it on there. I had it on
thought
there.
about it, but we didn't even finish.
We didn't really finish it. That was why I didn't. I had that as my number 5 initially, and I was like, well, we didn't finish it. So
Yeah.
I had thought of a couple other ones of like not that Mansions of Madness takes that long, but it can. Same thing with like a game like Descent.
Yeah.
Arkham Horror is something that is a long
That's a
thing.
long slog.
I have not played like Through the Ages.
Right. We haven't
Those
either.
types of games or just
War
like
of the Ring, same thing.
Civilization,
Yeah.
Sid Meier's
Those, like,
Civilization.
heavy, long
Battlestar
games.
Galactica is a long game that I thought about.
That's a good point. That's a long game.
And that's a cool game because it needs to be long enough where the switch to a Cylon like matters. Other things I was just kind of like looking at was War of the Ring, which I know is something that you want to play, which is a long.
I have it. We just haven't played it.
Yeah.
But that
I
would
think,
be
like,
on
that
there, I'm sure.
D-Mocker game's long.
D-Mocker, I think, is long as well. Yeah.
There's those are kind of the ones that I thought about that I'm like, man, those games are long. Not including diplomacy and those like war. The ones that take 6 years anyway.
Yeah.
Right.
Isn't it like what's that one game, Twilight Imperium?
Twilight Imperium. Yeah.
a big-
I almost put that on there too, but I just don't like it enough to put it on there.
Yeah.
But that
Right.
takes like 8 hours. To
Yeah, it's not a genre is not the right word. It's not. I don't usually look at 3-hour games and go like yes because I can't play them on game night.
Right.
So sometimes when a game takes too long, it will never hit the table.
Right.
Yeah.
Because I play Mondays for 3 hours, and then with a rules refresh or anything like that,
That was the reason I
do
got
that.
rid of the Vitella Serta games that I had for a time over and over again because I'm like, all right, Lisboa, I loved it, but it's just so fucking long. When am I going to play that? And now I bought them all back.
Because he wants to
And now
have
they're
a
back.
pretty
I want-
collection.
Yeah, I like the collection.
Yeah.
So that's going to do it for us tonight, everybody. If you'd like to get a hold of us, you can find us on Instagram at Gamecasters or at Mad Board Gamer. Both of those accounts service the podcast. We also have a Facebook group. Just search Gamecasters. You'll find us there. You can also email us at thegamecasterspodcast@gmail.com. If you like the show, we'd like if you consider giving us a rating on Apple Podcasts or anywhere else you listen that allows you to rate us. We've got a Patreon now. If you want to support the show, feel free to head on over to patreon.com/thegamecasters. There's also a merch store where you can find all sorts of different Gamecasters, Mad Board Gamer, Gateway gear. So head on over to thegatewaynetwork.com/store. Please follow me and consider subscribing on Twitch at twitch.tv/Gamecasters. So for Natalie and Jeff the Mad Board Gamer, I am Ryan, and you have been listening to The Gamecasters. Good night, everybody. Hello, hello, hello.
Hello.
You didn't have to go all the way to the top. I can't go higher than that.
She was doing that.
Hello.
You gotta be like,
Bum, 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 bum,
Wasn't that like a thing from Big Bang Theory? Didn't they do that?
well, I mean, it's really from like 2001: A Space Odyssey.
No, I
From
know, but
Stanley
didn't they
Kubrick.
like sing it?
Did you say from Stanley Tucci?
They like sang
Stanley
it.
Kubrick.
Stanley Tucci made Space
It's funny
Odyssey.
because there is a joke in Big Bang Theory about Stanley Tucci, which is really funny. They're talking about comics, and Stanley is the Marvel comic guy.
Yeah.
They're like, we're gonna go meet Stan Lee, and Penny's like, Stanley Tucci.
Yeah.
No, it's totally. They did that. I remember somebody going like boom, 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 boom.
Yes, you're right.